right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialists? SPC here, and welcome to a very special edition of the Midwest Cantina podcast. So, for today, you guys, we are celebrating my quote unquote milestone, we'll say 200 subscribers. So I wanted to bring in some guests to help celebrate and talk some different topics. I'm sure we'll have a wide variety of topics here. We have a couple guests who will be showing up a little bit later, but we've got Brett Man from the Good Real Hunting Channel. Brett Man, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh, dude, you're so welcome, man. I'm doing pretty good, man. Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the honor to be a part of your special accomplishment of 200 subscribers. Me and my buddy Brad, who I run Good Real Hunting with, we were a part like at that stage before, so we easily know how that feels like to feel 200 being such an accomplishment, and definitely wanted to not only help your channel grow, but to celebrate that occasion with you. So thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on. So, and we've got Nerdy Leon, aka Brandon here. Brandon, how you doing? Thank you again for coming back on the channel.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to celebrate your big achievement. And one day I hope to have that same. So I appreciate you having me on. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, man. Not a problem. And of course, once again, we have got Travis here back in the building. Travis, how are you doing?
Doing well, Austin. Thank you. Yeah, I think we've been pretty much together since the beginning, a couple different channels ago, and now this one. So I'm just glad to see the accomplishment that you've made and how much your content has grown over the years. So I just thank you for letting me be here.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I say it all the time. I mean, the channel started with you. It's gonna keep going on with you. So we're gonna have some fun here today.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, my computer keeps screaming at me here. We got May Ann here in the chat. Hello, everyone. Congratulations on 200 subs. Thank you very much. So, as I said before, we all have our own topics that we have picked. Again, a couple of guests will be a little bit later. So, whenever they get here, we will be going with their topics. So, who would like to start?
I'm like that kid in the classroom that sits in the back row for a reason.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello?
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Hola.
Uh-oh. I can go first.
Okay.
So kind of my thing on recent movie updates or movie releases, Guardians of Galaxy 3. I think by far you've seen some people put it in their top 5 or even one of their top Marvel movies, but for some reason it's not really correlating to the overall Rotten Tomatoes score. So I'm curious what you guys think. Is that because of just Marvel fatigue with Phase 4, or will we see more love back into Marvel?
What are those Rotten Tomatoes scores? Do you have it on you, or do I need to look it up real quick?
I have. So we'll start with the most.
Okay, I got it right here actually.
Okay.
82% by the critics and 95% by the audience. So kind of like to answer your question, though, whether it's Marvel fatigue, trust me, Marvel fatigue definitely exists at this point. But I feel like everybody was excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because of the success of what James Gunn has brought to this particular trilogy. And not only that, we know this is James Gunn's last movie in the Marvel world before he sets on his quest to go to the DC realm and try to fix all their big old mess. And, you know, I feel like he major accomplishment done, man. I definitely think this is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that's saying a lot because I absolutely love the first one. So definitely, I love Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and major well done for James Gunn and the team of Marvel. Definitely the best Marvel movie since Endgame.
I agree. I was just like when I was watching it, it just felt like every little moment counted, and it was just such a big like payoff at the end when we got to the end, the end credits, right? It was just cool to see. It was weird to see like it was supposed to make like double what it was supposed to make, but it was just like kind of that hard kind of we don't know how well it was going to do, I guess. So but what do you guys think? What else?
I sadly missed what the topic was, so
So the topic was basically uh Guardians 3 Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was kind of one of the lower rated as far as Rotten Tomatoes. We even it was lower than the second one, which is kind of arguably one of the worst. It is one of the worst out of the three, but this one had 82%, which like the others were in the high 80s, low 90s. Are we seeing like that Marvel fatigue, or will we get better when we go forward in Phase 5? So
fatigue is 100% real. I truly feel like once Marvel actually got onto Disney Plus is really when like the fatigue really started with all the shows, because it was almost like a rare thing every year. You get to see you see like maybe 2 MCU movies a year, and then all of a sudden
yeah,
the shows were coming out and stuff, and then you see like 5 or 6 in a year, and it's like, oh, okay, like no joke, dude. I'm probably like between movies and shows, I'm probably like 12 projects behind. I think the
yeah,
last thing I saw was No Way Home.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
jeez.
I'm well, no. What's it called? Oh, geez, the new Doctor Strange movie. What's that one called again?
Into the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the last one I've seen.
Okay.
But I guess yeah, theater wise, I mean, definitely the last one I saw was No Way Home, and for me personally, I've been almost flipping a coin lately as between that and Infinity War. What's been my favorite of the MCU? Because
Mm-hmm.
like Infinity War, I mean that is just straight up like an Avengers all you can eat buffet. It's like
Yeah,
the best way I can really word that. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously No Way Home is kind of like the same way, but with just Spider-Man. I mean, you get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back. You get all the old villains from the old movies. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a huge love letter, in my opinion, to Spider-Man fans. So, but you can tell things have definitely. The MCU is really different compared to how it used to be. Like it's not really the same. Like when you had the original like Guardians of the Galaxy, like that felt new and something fresh. It felt like a good little like comedy almost to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're getting into like the huge multiverse stuff within the MCU, and it's just it's a lot to take in at one time.
yeah,
And don't you think, though? I think where most people get where the fatigue comes from is because after Endgame, it like legit felt like the story was over. Like everybody kind of had their happy ending. Well, in their own way, had their happy ending. I'm sure the Stark family didn't have their happy ending, but you just felt like everything had just a foregone conclusion. You were happy for everybody as much as you're allowed to be happy for them, and that's where you needed to close the door and take a break from it and focus on other projects in the Marvel realm. I feel like they're trying too hard, like with the cash. All it is at this point is cash grabbing, in my opinion, to set up for the 2 Avengers movies, which they're great ideas. But if you would just like save it for a whole other Marvel MCU, kind of like MCU 2, 2 if you want to do that way with new actors playing the new characters and to tell that story next versus the Thanos one because you ain't gonna ever replicate it again. Like that would have been cool to see. I would have been more open to that versus like, oh, we're gonna replace some of the characters I love with these newer characters where I'm like, okay. So like I'll still go day one, but at the same time I'm just like we're just forcing something that shouldn't be forced at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think overall it's just there needs to be some newness because we're just like I feel like we're just getting shoved fast food in our face, and it's like, and then they just change up like the packaging a little bit, and it's just like it's the same formula. Here, have it, and then I kind of wish they would take a different approach and then like do it kind of like what Visions has kind of done, and like just have other studios take a try, take a stab at like, here's a small story. What do you think? Like, here's a small character. We don't need a whole movie for all of these characters. It's just like we can have these small stories and then enter them in later on. So that's just my opinion. So I think it kind of goes in my second point. Do we see James Gunn coming back to Marvel and the MCU?
That's an excellent question. I'd love to say yes because I mean, like with what, even though I'm not huge on Guardians 2, I think with what he's done with that group of characters has been one of the better things within the MCU because I can willingly say the original Guardians is in like my top 5 favorite MCU films. It's just, I love it. I think it's mostly the soundtrack because I love all the music from the soundtrack. But I think he's pretty well set where he is, though, in regards to being over in DC. I think he'll work better with DC because I feel like while I still would say the MCU is still a solid franchise overall, the DCEU really needed the help. So I think he'll stick with DC for a good long while, and I would say maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll dip his toes back in. Maybe he'll do like a little short or something. Because I agree with you on the whole Visions thing. It's probably because I'm still on my Visions high from watching the show, ranking it, and everything. But like little standalone stories, or even like after Endgame, let's go to another Earth. Let's go to another multiverse. Let's go explore different characters. Like we could have started off with, Mr. Fantastic. Who played him again? John Krasinski? God.
Well, he played a variant of Mr. Fantastic, but they unfortunately they're planning on getting someone else to play the character, which I'm sadly disappointed because I felt like John would have been a perfect Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw and what I remember in Multiverse of Madness, he did do a good job, but I feel like that would have been more the route to go. Like, let's literally end this whole series, the 23rd movie, with, Iron Man, Thor, all them guys. Let's end that story. And let's go to a new Earth. Let's now tell the story of the Fantastic Four. You can do a new Spider-Man. You can do whatever, Ironheart or a different Thor. There's so many opportunities. I just feel as though that continuing the story that we all know that we essentially grew up with and watched. I don't know. I don't think that was the right move for Marvel after Endgame.
Yeah, like they definitely could. Like, y'all remember early 2000s Marvel where they just did those individual movies like Punisher, Daredevil, and of course Fantastic Four. Like, why not start those up again?
Yeah,
like no strings attached to them or anything.
Yeah, those were good. I enjoyed those.
Punisher.
So yeah, the Punisher was good. It wasn't really had much love, but it was definitely pretty dark. So one of my
Mhm.
favorites back then. So
Yeah, and that's what I also felt like Marvel is missing too nowadays is the darkness to it. Even though we just got done with Phase 4, which a lot of people call it the trauma, the trauma phase, which yeah, definitely was. But yeah, I feel like Marvel could use a little bit more darkness into it, though, like DC was trying to do with the Zack Snyderverse, which in Zack Snyder we trust, big supporter of his work. Which he should have controlled the whole DCU. Once they took that away from him, it went to shit. So you know what? That's on Warner Brothers and all that. That's their own damn fault
Yep.
to get them in on this mess. But I'm a believer in James Gunn, and I feel like he's the right guy for the job to fix the DCU. Is he going to be perfect? No, because it's in such a wreck. But with time and patience and just the trust of James Gunn, I feel like he's the guy to do it.
it's so funny, like looking at his movie like lineup, like his resume. It goes like Slither, it goes Super Movie 43, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just like
God.
it's such a like a weird drop. Like, where did you get? How did you get the job for this? But you see that, and he's just like he has a knack for like the comedic, uh, like that comedic superhero, small character, not a big role, and he made like Guardians of the Galaxy fun. Like you just
Mm-hmm.
went to the movie theater and it was like, this is new. Like we got like when I remember when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, that was like seeing, spoiler, but when Guardians of the Galaxy came out and they were rockets makeshifting a ship out of like the warden's headquarters or whatever, that was fun. Like they were trying to break out of prison. That was really fun. And I enjoyed that. And now it's just like they tried to replicate it with phase 4 with the like this is how, it's just like I don't care. So hopefully we don't lose some of that like newness, but hopefully we see some of the Guardians back again. So which
Mm-hmm.
is a little weird because yeah, like we don't know who's coming back anymore. So I think David Batista said he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think uh there was like some things about like Chris Pratt being done as Peter Quill. Like there's just like all these other things, and I don't know who's going to be back. So it was a good swan song for Guardians and that cast. It was very very good. So
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
I have yet to see the Christmas special. I heard that's actually pretty
Oh,
solid too.
so good. Like that
yes,
surprised the hell out of me with how good it was.
yeah, it was very good.
You know what else was actually impressive in the MCU was that Werewolf by Night.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, I fell in love with that film when I watched it because I was in the midst of watching the Universal monster movie, so I was still in like that mindset of watching them. So, man, getting in there and watching that, I was in heaven.
I am going to turn my camera off because I did not enjoy that one.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah, didn't quite enjoy it. Like I thought it was okay, but I'm like, okay, apparently this has some significance of what the next phase of Marvel is going to be about, and I just didn't see it anywhere. I'm like, I feel like this is just Marvel's just trying to be a part of the whole Halloween spectacular during the time that it came out,
Yep.
and I'm like, why? I feel like they just do it or did it just to did it, you know. So I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Like, sure, they did some good things about it, but other than that, I'm just like, was it needed? Kind of
Okay.
like
I would.
She-Hulk. Was it needed?
I have yet to see that.
Don't. I gave up after one
it's,
episode.
wow,
It's that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
I toughed it out through the end.
You're a braver man
And
than I am.
it was tough, and it was just like Charlie, like the only bright spot is obviously seeing Charlie Cox in Daredevil, obviously.
Mhm.
But it's just like, even that, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we go from Daredevil and Netflix to this. And so it wasn't good. And like the whole fourth wall breaking, and I'm not a big fan of that at all. So,
I hope that when Deadpool comes to the MCU, I hope they do not. I'm terrible. They say they're not going to change him, but I'm terrified and nervous because I love the first Deadpool. Like I'd say it's probably in like my top 10 favorite superhero movies of all time because
nice.
Going to it in theaters, like I did not expect it to go that way. I was like, oh wow, like wow. Because even that monologue when he actually stabs that guy, he's like, I know what you're thinking. This is supposed to be a superhero movie, but he just turned that guy into a kebab. I was like, yeah, you're shooting people in the head and cutting their heads off, and like,
Ha! You're about to die by a Zamboni in like about 5 minutes.
That's the
one of my favorite lines.
I hope they don't lose.
It's or one of my favorite lines in the movie too is like, wait a minute, I just broke the fourth wall within a fourth wall. That's just like 16 walls. Like,
see, like that's one of the few things in the MCU I'm really looking forward to. I really wanted to watch Moon Knight. Like that's the one I was the most intrigued with because that looked like it was going to be. It's probably a terrible comparison, so I apologize if I offend anybody to this, but it seemed like dark, kind of like Batman dark to a degree. But I know there's like Egyptian mythology mixed in. That's like my favorite mythology ever is Egyptian. So like I don't know. I all I hear about the last episode is Power Ranger battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very disappointing because it was just like this is what we get, like because it for a while it has that build up like throughout the show, and then it's just like this is lame. Like I've looked forward to something else, but my wife loved Moon Knight and she loves Egyptian mythology as well, so she has all the Moon Knight Funko Pops and everything. So I hope they do better with it because it felt like they had so much potential and they just kind of like didn't do much with it. Like it wasn't that good. Like it was like, did we need like that long to get to the point that he's Moon Knight? Like did we need that long? Probably not. No. So it's like, but it got what was it? Like we got to the point where it was like 4 or 5 episodes in, and it's like he's waking up and doing stuff, and he has it's like, of course he's Moon Knight. We all know he's Moon Knight. So it's just funny. So
it'd be like watching a Batman movie and them trying to hide the fact that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
it's just like I don't need 5 episodes, and I don't need I don't need 5 weeks to know that. Like I've seen the trailer, I know who he is. So
yeah, and especially if you're like a huge comic fan, like obviously you already know who he really is. Like
yeah, we just want to see him do something, not just be crazy. And I guess like they played into that where it's just like, what if he is great, like crazy, and we don't actually know if he's actually Moon Knight? But it's just kind of like, I don't care. I just want to see him. I just want to see him fight crime. So,
well, you'll get that in season 2 for sure, because the whole purpose of the first season was just to introduce the character and his backstory, and just to get that out of the way. Like that's all first seasons ever do nowadays. It's just character backstory and get things out of the way, and then do more action the second season. Because like if you do everything and skip the story part of it, why are you investing in that character? Which I'll go ahead and say it. I loved Moon Knight. It's my favorite Disney Plus series that MCU has done so far. I thought Oscar Isaac was terrific in this role, and visually, I thought it was the most stunning visuals I've seen in a Marvel show. You could tell they put a lot of effort and money into that show. And not only that, it's just I've always been a fan of Moon Knight. I know Ashton, but no, he's trying to think here. But yeah, Moon Knight I've always been a fan of. I feel like the Moon Knight character would have been perfect in the in the early 2000s, and him having his own standalone movie, kind of like like we mentioned earlier with Deadpool or not Deadpool, Daredevil. I felt like he could have benefited from that, but I thought the show was excellent. I'm a big fan of Egyptian mythology as well, so I was just a sucker for everything in it, and I can't wait for season 2.
I just need to watch it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely suggest you give it a watch. Like again, visually it's stunning, and plus there's like a big like oh shit moment in there as well.
Okay. Well, interesting. Oh, and Brett, apparently you were supposed to take that hat off. You guys talked about this.
We did talk about it, but you know what? I'll go from one champion to another champion, so we're all good.
You're a Chiefs fan. This is awkward.
Big Chief. Oh, are you an Eagles fan?
Yes, I am.
I am so sorry.
I'm guessing Ashton is a Patriots fan.
Yeah, just a little bit of a Patriots fan. No, he's definitely a Patriots fan. So we will see. So we get the distinct honor of beating up the Patriots, both of us this year.
Yes, I'm down for that.
Yeah, so looking forward to it, Ashton. Even though I feel bad for the Eagles more than anything because they have to play the Patriots at the Patriots when Tom Brady's getting honored. So,
yeah, we're
good luck.
Lose, probably.
I'm so confused. Is he still playing football, or did he retire?
Oh no, he retired officially. He got hired by Fox, and he's getting paid more by Fox than playing football, if you can believe it. So yeah, I'd retire too and just sit behind a desk in a suit and talk about football for an hour or two, and then make like his contract was like in the million, like really high millions.
I think it was like 275 million or something crazy.
I'd rather do that than throw a football with 26-year-olds chasing me down.
Yeah, save my body. Like
exactly.
Getting hit by freight trains. No, it was funny when he retired. People found because he posted on his like Instagram or whatever, and so when they found exactly where he posted this video, because it was outside, he was at a beach, right? And so what they did was they like had captured all that sand, I guess, and like people are selling it for like thousands of dollars. It was crazy. That was a crazy post, but yeah, they were on eBay just selling a bunch of sand where Tom Brady retired.
God, mate, like people need to. Yeah, I got no words for that, but you know what? It's not as crazy as the whole Tennessee Titans with their schedule release. Like, my God. Hopefully those are not Tennesseans, because if those are Tennesseans, what am I still doing in this state? But yeah, we're not here. But yeah, I'm sorry. We got a whole big football tangent. So
all good, man. All good.
So.
Well, also to Brandon's point too, I think that's just kind of the thing anyway with like comic book movies in general. Like, there's nothing new or unique anymore compared to like early years, like where we would get like even Dark Horse, like when we got things like The Crow, The Mask, like all them super unique comic book movies where now it's just okay. Well, what Marvel character are they going to bring to the MCU now? Or, okay, well, how big are they going to go with DC now? I mean, obviously, we still have the Flash movie coming out next month, which I can willingly say I'm still pretty excited for. I'm Unpopular opinion, I'm not a big Michael Keaton Batman fan. I think he's okay as Batman. I'm more of a I like Kevin Conroy as my official overall Batman, just like how Mark Hamill's my overall official Joker that I like.
Okay.
Live action Batman, I don't know. I'm so torn. I keep coming back to Ben Affleck. I know that's not a very popular opinion, but
I like that opinion though. But I'm definitely Christian Bale because I love the whole Dark Knight series. That trilogy to me is like a perfect superhero trilogy, just to be honest. And plus, Christian Bale to me, okay, like me and my buddies talked about this. We agreed that Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne of all time. While the newer Matt Reeves, that Batman, like the actual suit and everything, Robert Pattinson might be the best Batman possibly. Like it's
Whoa.
still time to tell. Like that's what we're going for. We're hoping that happens. But I think, like you said, Ben Affleck, we agreed on that he's the best physical looking Batman.
mm. It's like the debate about who's the true Spider-Man. Because I mean, like, I feel like
And Ashley brought up a good point in the chat. Kevin Conroy, legend. Yeah, absolutely.
yes, rest in peace to him. I'm still shocked he's gone. I really am. Like that's just
Dude, we lost him 1 month, and legit the next month we lost Tommy Oliver, like or Jason. So
yeah,
it was
Jason David
just
Frank.
rough.
Yeah, that was another shocking one too. Like two back to back like that. I'm two huge important pieces of my childhood growing up. I'm
Same.
like wow, and they're both. I mean, they're up there in age, but still they're still pretty young. Like I think what Jason was in his 40s, like early 40s.
Somewhere in his 40s. But yeah, he was the shocking one because I thought he was enjoying doing conventions and everything. And when I heard his passing, that really hit me hard that day. And I dedicated the rest of my fantasy football season under his name and change my fantasy team under his, like, to represent him. And luckily, I won a championship with that, so I got to honor his legacy. So I was so happy. Like that championship meant a lot to me this past year.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I kind of did the same thing when Chadwick Boseman passed away. T'Challa. I named my team Wakanda Forever as my fantasy team throughout the whole season, and I won a championship with that too. So I'm not saying like I don't want my heroes to die or anything, so I could use their name to win fantasy championships or anything. I'm not that sick, but just to know when someone that means a lot to me, like, and I get to try to honor them the way or bring joy to that the way they brought joy to me, it's always such a heartwarming experience.
Yep, I agree with that, man. Yeah, but in regards to like Spider-Man, like what's your guys' opinion? Who's the best? Who's the best Peter Parker and who's the best Spider-Man?
Ooh. Okay. I'm torn.
I would say, and this is going to be probably not popular opinion, but we'll see. I'll say Tom Holland, best Peter Parker, and then the best Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield.
Really?
I think overall I love Tobey Maguire. But it's just something about Andrew Garfield. It was just fun watching him be Spider-Man. So and then obviously Tom Holland, I just think he's overall it's just a better Peter Parker, overall better actor, better he has more like he's more relatable than like it's hard because like I grew up with Andrew Garfield and kind of Tobey Maguire was not really relatable and I didn't really ever like him, especially in one of the movies. And then but Peter, like, I guess Tom Holland was just so relatable as a kid. So when I was a kid watching him, so and it wasn't like it's like he's a nerd. Like he was actually the Peter Parker, like shy, smart, like not really like all that great. Like with the
Play with
women,
Legos.
with the girls. Like he's a kid, like, and he's weird, like, and like I feel like Andrew Garfield was too, like, he was like he wasn't too weird enough, I guess. Like as a kid, so it's just like you're too confident, and so and then Tobey Maguire, I just had my other set of issues. So, but yeah, that's mine.
I agree with half of that. The part I agreed with is Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, just because I feel like his quirky jokes were absolutely the best, and the overall presentation of his look absolutely matched the comic book. With the whole gadget, like with the web shooters and all that, that's classic Spider-Man. Which I appreciate. The Tobey Maguire one, like actually like changing it up and actually being a part of him with what they wanted to do with that. I respected that, but I'm a traditionalist, so definitely the web shooters, because to me it shows off the smartness of Spider-Man and Peter Parker versus just like having unlimited spider web fluid or whatever you want to call it. So definitely agree. Andrew Garfield, definitely best Spider-Man. Best Peter Parker, I absolutely have no choice but to give that to Tobey Maguire because again, with the presentation, the look, and how like awkward Tobey Maguire was, definitely fit the description of what Peter Parker is supposed to be about.
I'm always so torn, man, because like me and the wife, we always have this discussion because she really likes Tom Holland. She thinks overall he's the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man. So he's like the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I've been coming around to Andrew Garfield. I remember when I first watched the original Amazing Spider-Man, like I really liked it. Like it was very well done. And just a few years ago, I thought I watched it, but I never did. I finally watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 finally for the first time. I uh I actually didn't mind it.
Close.
I actually didn't think it was. I will say the whole Osborn thing, like that was easily like the single worst part of that movie, like hands down. But like
Sure.
he felt like Spider-Man, like he's making the quips, he's just being comedic, and I mean I can't not help but give him the credit too in that scene where Gwen Stacy dies. Like that is some of the best acting in any Spider-Man movie. Period.
Because she actually had an actor like doing that acting thing, and that's not a diss on Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland, but come on, Andrew Garfield is a Academy Award-winning actor, so there's a enhancement level with that, and I'm glad he got to do that scene because yeah, like you said, he definitely brought it on that.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like I enjoyed the Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone relationship more than any other relationship they gave us in Spider-Man too. So
It was just weird because it wasn't. It was just like it was too. I don't know. Like to me, it was like she's just really popular and he's a nerd, but like he, it just like this is not relatable. Like this doesn't happen that easy, and I felt like it was just too easy, and so I don't know. That's where it's like the Tom Holland thing. It was like, oh, she's also not that like popular, I guess. And so it was just like, oh, this is relatable. Like it's kind of like they're, but it's just, and then also I feel like extra like external factors of Tobey Maguire just I don't like him. So it's just he unfortunately like it's just like other than Spider-Man, he's not to me he wasn't a great actor. So but yeah.
Have you ever
what's
seen the
that?
movie Brothers?
Yeah, I was about to mention that. You took the. I was trying. It's like, what's the name of that movie? But yeah, Brothers. That's where I will disagree with you. Tobey Maguire was excellent in that movie.
Fair.
I will say though, like he did go a little over the top in that like his freak out scene where he's like smashing everything in the kitchen and everything. But he was, I might honestly say that might be his like best acting in any movie that I have seen personally. And again, I grew up watching his movies. I've seen all three of them in the theaters. So I mean, I have a soft spot and nostalgia for Tobey Maguire as my Spider-Man because I've been bouncing back and forth for the last few years. I love No Way Home, but I still think I'm leaning towards Spider-Man 2 being my overall favorite Spider-Man movie, my overall favorite superhero movie, and it's easily in like my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Hell, dude, you can't complain about that. That's awesome.
Do you at least like Spider-Man 2, Brandon? Because if you at least like that movie, we can be friends still.
Oh, what? Remind me what happened?
Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, Doc Ock. Yeah, I do like that one. It's just the one where the symbiote
Venom.
took him.
Spider-Man 3.
That one put a bad taste in my mouth, and then it was just like, I don't care for goth Spider-Man. So,
dude, those have been some of the best memes ever, though. Yes, exactly. And I love too. They put that in Spider-Verse. Oh, I laughed so hard when I saw that. I was like, really, that is amazing.
Dude, and I'll admit that they did miss an event or an opportunity in Spider-Man No Way Home, and they're like, they should have kept like the three Spider-Mans together, have like a hangout day, and be like, man, what's something we could do together? And then they all come out wearing suits and all that, and they all go and all do the dance together. That would have been the ultimate end credit scene of all time.
I like though how they did the little like where they're all pointing at each other like they do in the old I think it's is it Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or something like that.
It was that old cartoon. But did you see that like the reference they made in the Cross the Spider-Verse in the trailer?
Oh yes.
I say,
get Spider-Man.
Capture Spider-Man. Wait, was you Spider-Man? That's Spider-Man.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Same here, especially with how good the first one was, which with all animation, I'm like, this one could be like the first Spider-Man I truly do not like. But God, was I so wrong. It's like I believe I have as my number 3 favorite Spider-Man. And I do have as a golden reel, which is a 5 out of 5 for me for letterbox purposes. Wow. And I do have as a golden reel. I love Into the Spider-Verse. So I'm so excited for what Across, because they're getting a bigger budget. So I'm excited to see what they do with everything.
I'm just excited, like who's actually going to be like voicing some of the Spider people, because I mean, Oscar Isaac is playing Miguel O'Hara, so he is going to be Spider-Man 2099. So
and that's our first Spider-Man 2099. So
yes, and of course I've been such a sucker for it because it's my favorite game of all time. But I've been seeing the Spider-Man from the 2018 PS4 game in the trailers and stuff, so I'm excited to see that because I maybe unpopular opinion, but I think overall Spider-Man, that's my overall favorite Spider-Man because of the story, the quips. He's like just the perfect blend of everything I love about the character, because I love Spider-Man, one of my top 5 favorite just characters of all time.
Yeah, definitely my favorite character of all time.
What about I got a favorite Spider-Man. Okay. Jake Johnson. He plays Peter Parker.
Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
I love Peter Parker.
I love Jake Johnson, man. That's a peak right there.
Yes. Oh my God. Sorry. Ashton Luck. Toby will always be my Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I do like all 3 live-action Spider-Man, though it's no hate on Andrew or Tom. Venom was 3, Doc Ock was 2. And he is now imagining that in his head. Thank you, Brett.
Oh, the awesome, amazing end credit scene idea they could have acted on. Yeah, you're welcome, my friend. Marvel should hit me up on that one.
There you go. Get some royalties.
If they couldn't do that, they could have easily done Doctor Strange doing that. Putting on the tie and suit, getting away for his wedding, and it could be a nice transition from that to into the Multiverse of Madness. Like, Marvel, just hit me up, man. I got your ideas.
There you go. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add to your topic there, Brandon?
No, I'm just a little excited for some upcoming Marvel movies. So I'm hoping I don't get disappointed this year. Like the last couple years of Disney Plus and some of the Marvel movies, because I don't want to spend that much money and be disappointed. So
I do not blame you.
Yep, I agree with that one too. All right. Well, Brett, what is your topic you would like to discuss?
I had one coming in, but then, like, for some reason, my brain went in a whole other direction. I'm like, this actually possibly could be something more interesting to talk about. The recent news that came out is Beetlejuice 2 is officially getting made. Which everybody's freaking excited for, mainly because of Jenna Ortega is coming into there to bring back most of the original people from the first one into this newer one. Everybody's excited for it, and I'm excited for it too. And I'll get you, to let y'all say how excited you guys are for Beetlejuice too. As like a side question, but my main question is: do you think like we're going too far into this new trend we're doing right now with like really going back to the past and doing sequels to these movies that should have been done long ago, and we're just doing them now? Like, are we doing too much of that, or are we actually happy about stuff like that? For example, Hocus Pocus took forever to get a sequel, and we finally got it. And for Top Gun, we finally got a sequel, even though that could have been done a long time ago. So, do you think like we're doing that trend too much right now, or are you happy about that trend, or what are your all's thoughts about that? Like for the sequels.
I to kind of steal like how I guess how Brandon worded with the MCU. I mean, it's kind of almost getting like fatigued, like terribly at this point. Because I mean, huge example. I mean, I'm a diehard Halloween fan. I mean, obviously Halloween did that with the recent trilogy reboot they did with Halloween 2018, Kills and Ends,
Mm-hmm.
Ends. Yeah, Ends. We'll not discuss that film, but I yeah, they like you said, they've been doing it a lot. I mean, all these just like basically cult classics. I feel that at this point in time, I don't think Hollywood really has anything like new or unique for stories anymore. So that's why they want to just, oh hey, let's grab this property. And now, Brandon, this is where you and I have in common. Star Wars. I mean, obviously they did the sequel trilogy. They continued after the original trilogy because they thought it was going to take off, because that was kind of one of the few like firsts I would like to say. But I mean, man, there are hundreds of examples. Like Hocus Pocus is a huge one. Like growing up, I can willingly say I would sit there and watch that every single Halloween and watch that film. And we had to wait almost 30 years to get a sequel to that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind the story. The film is okay, but it's definitely a sequel I personally didn't need. I've yet to see Top Gun Maverick, so I just hear it's amazing. It's
What are you
fantastic.
doing? Watch
Uh,
it.
uh,
It's legit the movie that's being called, or the title of it's being called, the movie that saved the theaters.
Yeah,
really?
Because it was
it's
during that
really
time where
good.
people thought like, we ain't going to the theater anymore. There's not a reason to go to the theater anymore. And then there's this movie called Top Gun Maverick that legit broke a bank like like $1 billion. I'm pretty sure it hit the $1 billion club. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But definitely it's one of the rare movies that it hit, like the type of movie it was, and it offered to be to hit the $1 billion club is super impressive. And that is the movie that saved the theater. Like if that movie didn't succeed, the theater chains would have died.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the problem, the it depends, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time you wait too long. The fans of that movie kind of they grow up, kind
Mm-hmm.
of. But like take for instance, like uh, sorry, I just lost Top Gun Maverick, right? Like that was a that was a revolutionary movie at the time because it was one of the first movies that had like real dogfight. Like you got to see jets in the air, and it was like really cool. And at that time, it was like way ahead, and it would have been cool, right? Because all they did, right, was they slapped a new, like put Tom Cruise in it, slapped same pretty much every character in there, and they're like, we have visual effects, and we can make this movie like a lot better. And they had real jets, like they had Tom Cruise actually flying around in a real jet, and like that's really cool. But like some of it, it's kind of like they I forget which one, but there was some you just like you would hear it, you hear an announcement, like they picked that to be the sequel, like, and it's just like it's not very exciting in my opinion, and it just kind of like proves, like Austin said, it's just they're just like, what can we pull out of this that will generate something relative, because they're pushing this nostalgia button like crazy, and it's just like soon people are just gonna like, I don't care, like I think Blade Runner was another one, right? They did like a long time between Blade Runner. I heard it was great, but it's just like I don't care. I've never cared for Blade Runner, so it's just I don't know. It depends, I guess, between how long. Like if you're like doing an Avatar movie, like you're gonna have to wait 13, 14 years for that movie to come out. And unfortunately, like that's the unfortunate part, right? But like I don't know. It just depends, I guess. So
Yeah, it really does depends because like Hocus Pocus 2 is like, well, I had a good time with that movie, but at the same time it's like, why did we need to bring that back? And
right.
kind of same thing, like it's just like the other like unsolved issue with it is like, and you touched upon it good, it's the nostalgia feeling of the older fans. But what about the new, like first off, what do you think, like the newer fans, is it going to pertain to them because they're like the new voice of the movie world now? So if you try to throw that Beetlejuice 2 at them, what if they don't like Beetlejuice 2? Then that kind of hurts the legacy of the first movie. And then the most important thing is you got those nostalgia fans. So if you try to modernize their childhood, they'll have a major issue with it too, and the success of the movie will plummet as well. So those are like some of my concerns with it. Even though I think Beetlejuice 2 is one of the rare ones where I'm actually welcome a sequel for that one, because I think they actually have a good idea for that one. So I'm excited. And plus, you got the hottest star on the planet right now of Jenna Ortega being a part of that movie, and she puts butts in seats. So I thought all the way around, it's such a strong idea.
Yeah, and I agree. It's just the problem. I had a thought, but it was basically you like movies at sometimes what makes movies so iconic was what made that, I guess, that time, right? And like so like some of these movies where it's like, oh, that was really like that was they had something in the movie that was really popular, and then you kind of go fast forward, it's like that's not popular anymore, and so it's just like another one that they were going to redo, but a sequel was announced, was Dodgeball 2.
Yeah,
And
that's a definite extent. I love the first Dodgeball, but they were years too late on that.
but
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, how are you going to build on something that it had great, like, it had Chuck Norris, it had like all these, like, it's just like legit like it had like all these characters, but what made it ridiculous was it was dodgeball, like a competitive dodgeball, which made it fun, right? And so that's where it's just like now we're 20 almost 20 years fast forward 20 years when we have a sequel to it, I don't feel like I'm not very excited for it. Like what made Dodgeball fun was it was ridiculous and it was new. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's just like I'm like all these characters are going to be old farts. Like I don't care. Like Vince
Yeah.
Vaughn's. So I don't
And
know.
plus, like you said, it was dumb fun in the early 2000s. It's not going to be that. Is they're going to try to use all that to try to modernize it, and how's that going to go? Well, so I love Dodgeball. It's one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. So I'm actually excited for it. Unfortunately, I am excited for it, but at the same time, I do have my major concerns with Dodgeball. I don't like. Are they calling it Dodgeball 2, or are they just what are they calling it? We don't even know what it's called yet. We don't even know the
No.
story, so there's just a lot of uncertainties about it. Man, I just feel like it's just a cash grab with Vince Vaughn too. At the same time,
Yeah, pretty much. And Ashton makes a great point here.
great
Dumb and Dumber
example.
2 is a great example. Yeah,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that one was not very good.
You're hot for my daughter. What? Am I right? What? Am I right? That's insane. The only thing I remember about that movie, other than that, I don't remember anything else. Oh, and their dog fan got destroyed in the first scene. Like that's what made me want to walk out the theater.
I watched it once and I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, that's the only time I've watched it. So,
You guys, we have another one of our guests here. Connor from that Not That Bad a Movie podcast is here. Connor, how are you doing? And thank you for being able to join today.
Man, thank you for the invite. Doing well. Glad that I was able to make it in. I was concerned that I was too late, so I'm glad. I'm glad I made it.
hell yeah.
So we are currently talking about Beetlejuice 2, the excitement around
Beetlejuice
that,
2.
and basically how movies are basically going to like Back to the Past to, you know,
And not just to the past, like not like 5 years, but we're talking like 20 to 40 years into the past.
Well, honestly, I the Flopbuster Boys had a stream last night that I was watching, and they were talking about this a little bit, and I just brought up a point where it's like, if you're going to build on an established property, I got no problem with going back in time really to these old things, but you have to build on it. These just all feel like cashing in on it rather than trying to expand on it and build on it. Like Evil Dead's done a great job of using a title and establishing this lore with more movies. And I think, Dumb and Dumber 2, whoever mentioned it in the comments, was exactly on point. That's a perfect example of just like, hey, these actors are available. Let's just make a bunch of money. So, yeah, I hope Tim Burton returns to form with this, because I know people have really been disappointed with his work lately, besides the television stuff. Like his movies have, people feel he's lost his magic a little bit. I hope this brings him back and snaps him back into it. But, I just have a feeling it's just like everything else.
Yeah, but I would think where Beetlejuice 2 is going to be different on that, because not only Tim Burton's coming back, Danny Elfman's coming back to do the score. We do have the character, like Michael Keaton's coming back. We got all those tradition. Even I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm horrible with names, but Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara's coming back.
She just got announced recently that she's coming back, and we all loved her for her Ayo! And that whole scene. Like, we love her for that. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we are throwing Jenna Ortega, who's the hottest star in cinema right now. That's going to be a part of that movie too. So I feel like they're not doing it just for a cash grab. I feel like they have the purest intentions of making this particular sequel a very good movie. So that's why I'm excited for this one.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So
it has the potential. Beetlejuice is a special thing. I just hope they don't go too far with like the abandoning what made Beetlejuice fun. So practical effects. There has to be fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like same thing with. I'm the slight bit nervous because they got the same like kind of like team together if I did Wednesday. So I am hoping they don't make it Wednesday. I want them to make it Beetlejuice. That's my only little concern I have for it.
Beetlejuice is a very rare thing because I mean, I guess I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but they actually even made like a little spin-off cartoon of Beetlejuice for I think it was like
I liked
3
it.
seasons.
That was my childhood, man.
I could not believe I remembered it because I actually went to I think I went to Walmart and they had the entire series there for like $20. I'm like, what?
How dare they charge $20?
I cannot believe this was I literally went back to being like 8 years old watching this show. Like that's my Beetlejuice. I don't mind the film. I do think it's a fun film, but I do find it a tad overrated for me personally. But I know the wife, she absolutely loves that. We saw it on sale, so she told me to buy it, and we watched it that day, and she just loves Beetlejuice. I told her, like, yeah, it's official. They're making a second one. She's like, we're going to see it when it comes out. Like,
and it's one of the most popular entities in for my spirit Halloween store too. That and Hocus Pocus have always been, and Trick or Treat have been the high staples of that store, and Beetlejuice is a part of that. And with this announcement, you could bet you in October that Beetlejuice merchandise will be everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Might be the hottest selling costume of next year when it comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, the Wednesday outfit? You go ahead and mark it down right now.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty soon we're going to see Brett on one of his streams dressed like Wednesday doing the dance.
Oh, please. Please. I'll pay for it.
If you saw my the Real Horror Wars show, I did a little, like, we did a skit for it, and I walked in on Jenna Ortega doing the Wednesday dance. I'm like, no, that's not how you do it. Let me show you how it's done. And I did the Wednesday dance a little bit. And she didn't like it very much, so I just left her alone, and then she's never returned any of my calls after that. So, you know, I shot my shot, though.
Gotta respect the effort.
Yes.
That was my one shot, my one opportunity to seek everything I ever wanted. Okay, I'm done. No more NM talk for me. So,
but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. I do hope it stays true to the original film. I hope it doesn't, go so far off that like it just disgraces the lore and everything like that for a lot of fans. Because again, I'm more of a casual fan of Beetlejuice, but for the people who are the diehard fans of it, I hope it lives up to what they would want for a sequel. Because like we talked about earlier, like Hocus Pocus 2, that's like 30 years too late for me personally. And again, like even with just horror in general, they've been doing a lot of like reboots and stuff going back to the past. Like I brought up Halloween earlier. They've done it with Candyman, and I don't know why those are the only two that are popping in my head right now, but like they're gonna do the same thing now with this Crystal Lake show that's coming out now.
Yeah,
like
that one, I am so pumped and jacked for. First off, we're just getting anything Friday the 13th as a welcoming sight at this point. Yeah. But secondly, this is our opportunity to get the Friday the 13th franchise right as a consistent story versus just making it up as you go. Because you could tell throughout the franchise, they definitely did not know what to do with this direction of the story and everything. So that's why I'm excited for the show. This is the actual point where they can actually correct the mistakes from the past and actually make it make sense and give it something that people can carry on about in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of that, happy 35th anniversary to Friday the 13th, The New Blood. That turns 35 today. So
one of my favorite, my most underrated favorite movie of the Friday the 13th franchise. Love Part 7.
We covered it very early on our show. Gabe and I covered it, and we pushed the link back out today to just be like, hey, catch up on this again because it's a fun movie, man. It's I wouldn't say it's the best movie ever, but it's a fun movie. Yeah. It's real fun. I wish people would give it a chance.
Yeah, well, it's just the curse of MPAA. That's the only reason, man.
Yeah,
like because if you saw those behind the scene footages from the box set right here. Did they miss on an opportunity? Because if they would have included those scenes, it would instantly be a top 3 Friday the 13th movie of all time for me.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite looks of Jason, like
all
time.
Great look.
While I do think Kane Hodder's not the greatest Jason, it's probably his best overall portrayal of Jason, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I would say so.
And yeah, the MPAA, man, they knifed that. That weirdly enough, the New Blood, I hold a special place in my heart because that was actually the first Friday the 13th movie I ever watched.
Oh hell yeah!
Nice.
It's like Halloween 5 for me. You know, both very similar in a way. Both involve some sort of psychic connection.
yes, that is so true.
Part 5's a guilty pleasure for Halloween for me. So like I appreciate for what it was and what it was trying to do. And then of course it did not do the kindest favors for Halloween 6, but definitely appreciate Halloween 5 over the years for me.
I hate Halloween 5.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
I used to drastically hate it, but I've come around to it a little bit, but still how the whole Rachel situation, yeah, that can never be forgotten. But I'll still laugh every time about Cookie Woman, though.
Cookie Woman?
Cookie Woman? Wait,
Cookie
big fat
woman.
woman?
It's a big woman who works at the store.
Big woman.
No! see, man, I like Resurrection. Like, I have so much fun watching Resurrection. I know for a lot of people, that's the one they put in, like, the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those movies. Like, so we covered that on the show as well. That was my pick. I tortured my co-host with it. And I had so much fun watching it this time because I went in my head and I thought like, okay, as much as I love the Halloween franchise, it's not a sin to have a movie that's just fun. That's just a fun movie from start to finish. Isn't trying to win any awards, isn't trying to do anything crazy. They're just trying to give you a good time. And that's what to me, they do. I mean, sure, a drink or two doesn't hurt your viewing experience. But you get some friends together and stuff. Like that's a really fun movie to watch, and weirdly enough fits very well with H20 in a weird way, for me at least. I don't know about everybody else, but I put those two movies together, and this is the first year that I'm actually adding those to my October viewing, thanks to the show. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And
that's
you even get to see Bo-Katan get her head cut off in that.
Yeah, you do.
You could even say that she will never be ahead of a major corporation.
Yeah.
But no, I every time Halloween Restoration gets brought up, I always promise one of my good buddies, one of my best friends, that I always mention his great quote that best describes Halloween Resurrection. It's that because he absolutely loves Halloween Resurrection, which he's one of like a few group of people on this planet that love that movie. But I give him all the credit in the world. But he says that it's a movie made ahead of its time. And I will be honest with you, I absolutely agree with that statement. I feel like that movie was made ahead of its time.
I could agree with that statement.
Because they did streaming and everything. And look what we're doing today. We're streaming and everything. So if they did that concept with now, it would have sold a lot better. But Busta Rhymes did not help. But actually, I'll be honest with you, it actually did kind of help because that's the only thing I remember about Halloween Restoration. Anything Busta.
He's so bad. He's just so entertaining in that movie, though.
Oh, he's incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, the test screens even say we want more Busta. Like give us more Busta. I'm like, okay. Like,
he's just such a like I've never seen somebody have so much fun while in the eyes of many fans destroying a franchise. It's like a like after Halloween when the pumpkins are rotting and there's just that kid going down the street like stepping on them and he's just got so much joy on his face. That's what I feel like Busta Rhymes is doing in that movie, and it's so fun to watch him do it. It's a blast.
That's the best explanation I've ever heard in my entire life about Halloween. Thank you so much for that, Connor. I'm going to tell my buddy that.
Happy to help. I
suppose.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, every time I watch that movie, when it gets to the part where he like tries to look up all serious, you want to be on Dangertainment, huh? I'm like, oh, dude, oh God, stop it!
Love it. Oh God.
Oh God, stop, please.
Trick or treat, mother.
Yeah,
treat, mother.
Yeah. Halloween Resurrection, man. Wow, yeah, it's that's a trip. It's a good one.
Oh, boy.
Ryan brought up another good one too. Coming to America too. That's another strong example too.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some good notable ones ready.
Oh, go
Gl-
for it.
Gladiator 2.
Oh,
yes,
Gladiator
that's a
2 is
thing.
coming, yeah.
Actually, I'm excited for that with the cast announcement they put behind it. But yeah, I could see that one being a good example too.
I Am Legend 2.
Yes,
I cannot believe they are doing that.
Yeah, why? Like,
especially too if you've only watched the theatrical cut, like you have to watch the extended cut now in order to like be like, okay, I'm pretty sure he like blew up in an explosion. How's he alive now?
Yeah, I don't care for the movie that much to watch a sequel. It just does not matter to me.
Yeah, it's supposedly, I think it takes place with like his son playing by Michael B. Jordan or something like
which
that.
that's the only good thing going for it. But other than that, nothing else.
Yeah. And then the last one I had was Lord of War 2, which I thought was based off a real story. So I'm curious because he got in, like he went to jail. So I don't, or did he not? I forgot. Did he?
Wait, what was the movie called again?
Lord of War 2 with Nicolas Cage.
How have I not heard about that movie? And I love and I really like Nicolas Cage. Like,
it's a good Nicolas Cage movie.
Okay, I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, it's a very good one. It's basically he's an arms dealer and he works with shady characters, and I think it's based off a real story. So I would suggest Mad Max is one of them.
That's a great example too.
And then Spy Kids.
Oh yeah, they're rebooting Spy Kids. I forgot.
Oh, are
about
they
that.
real? Oh my god.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez himself is rebooting Spy Kids.
Oh god.
So
is the original cast coming back at least?
I think they're doing like a completely different thing with it this time. I don't know for sure, but I think they're doing something different with it. Honestly, you know what kind of upsets me about it is like, I think it was like the perfect franchise to like grow with its audience, you know, because like it's just silly enough that like first of all, it has Machete in it. I mean, Danny Trejo is the same character we see in the Machete movies. So it's the same guy. So that's easily a franchise that you could have just let grow with everyone and you know, made it more mature, like do a mature reboot with the original cast, bring everybody back. But I guess they just decided to make it for a new generation. We'll see how it turns out.
Well, knock on wood's all I can do, man.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I never thought was going to turn into a franchise, and this is for you wrestling fans here, the Marine.
All right.
Never expected that to turn into a franchise.
I want to say this right now. The Marine 1 it did not have any business having a sequel. It wasn't a bad movie. It's not a sequel type of movie. The second Marine is like a surprisingly decent action movie. Like the acting is awful. But it has like Tamura Morrison in it, and it's got the star
Jr.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase Jr., who's about to probably go to prison. So that's fun. But the action,
not everybody has a prize for the $1 million
everybody
man.
has a prize apparently. Yeah. But in all honesty, like if you watch like the fight scenes and the action in that movie, it's pretty solid. After that though, no. I don't know. Who's gonna okay. Other than Johnny Cage, who wants to see The Miz do anything in a movie? I personally don't want to see it. I don't like the guy very much.
I just don't.
He's great at what he does in wrestling, but
he's just not like Miz, Cena. We're making a movie about a more badass Marine. Which one do you want to go with?
He's just not. Yeah, he's just not. He doesn't fit the mold of that character. If they would have announced him as Johnny Cage, like that's a fan casting that I agreed with. I was like,
I agree with that one too.
It's a good idea because that's what his wrestling character is. He's already playing that on TV every week, and he's a decent actor. He's not awful. I mean, he's not great, but he's not you don't try to tell me this guy's a Marine. He's not a Marine. He doesn't look anything like a Marine. He looks like the guy from the real world. That's what he looks like, okay?
Because he was a part of the
Because he was on the real world, exactly.
Yes.
So now I hate to hijack anything, but I want to ask you guys, do you guys have a favorite WWE Studios movie? I don't know if you guys have seen any of them, but I think
your first one.
I think
got
I
your
know what
winner.
yours is, Brett.
Go ahead and say it.
Can I guess that it's See No Evil 2?
Actually, no, but that's another
Oh,
good. It's
okay.
not, but that's a good one. I actually really enjoyed that sequel a lot. Yeah, Ryan, let me talk to you. Yeah. God, man, that's the only thing I was sad about going to SmackDown yesterday. That LA Knight was not on screen.
I saw you went to
I
SmackDown.
I was
was
so
awesome.
sad. I was so sad. But the one that actually, you know what? Take a second guess. Come on, because you're so close.
Is it early? Like, is it a horror movie?
It is a horror movie.
Is it Oculus?
It's damn right. It's Oculus. Mike Flanagan's work.
It's hard to believe that's a WWE movie.
Me too,
That
man. When I
is.
rewatched it a while back ago, it said WWE Studios. So wait a minute. They got Mike Flanagan to do a WWE Studios, but WWE Studios was probably like, Mike Flanagan, here's what we want to do. Here's a budget. Go do it. And then he not only done it, it's definitely one of the more underrated horror movies in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
I believe, because I think that's around the time that it came out. So definitely Oculus. And plus it has Karen, who plays Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy, which, wow, forgot about that. And of course it has Bo-Katan as the mother in Oculus as well. So just so many good stars already. So Oculus is so damn good.
I love Mike Flanagan, man. Dr. Sleep. Oh, I'm gonna boldly say it. I think it's his masterpiece. I love that movie.
Until someone gives him the keys to do Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
That's my ultimate direction of who give that man that movie. Give that man that franchise. But no, I'm with you. As of right now, Dr. Sleep is his masterpiece. The director's cut.
Yes, the director's cut, hands down.
I like pretty much everything he's done, honestly, movie-wise. Same. Like, Hush was great, I thought. I liked
underrated.
You know what? I did not like the first Ouija movie, but I did enjoy the second one that he did. And Gerald's Game I thought was pretty well done.
That movie was
Still need to see that one.
Yeah, it's a screwed up movie.
Yes.
It's I wouldn't expect anything less based on the source material there, but yeah, it's a tough watch in like a weird way. It's not like, Serbian film bad, where you're just like wanting to literally just, you like wish you didn't exist so that you didn't come to the point where you're watching the movie. But it's it's just enough where you're like a little uneasy by the end of it. Underrated. Nobody really talks about Gerald's Game a lot. I'm glad to hear some love here.
Yeah, I just watched it for the first time like a year and a half ago, and yeah, I was blown away like how good it was. So I was like, wow. Like I just saw Mike Flanagan's name and I clicked play right away. Got a hit on that.
I would say the only one I didn't like for Mike Flanagan, but is definitely one of his earlier projects, is Absentia. I wasn't a big fan of that one, but that was mainly due to the budgeting and all that. It kind of felt like a fan film. But apparently everybody else likes it, so I would say if you're a big Mike Flanagan fan, give it a watch. But it just wasn't for me in particular.
Yeah, it's not even eligible for my show. I thought for sure it'd be under a 3. No, it's over 3.1. Okay, cool. All right, Mike Flanagan, good for him.
Yes, sir.
To go back to your other point, one that I've really loved that I grew up watching was Walking Tall. So
Walking Tall is I'm so disappointed by how people feel about Walking Tall because apparently people don't like that movie. And I don't understand why. So if I'm going to Letterboxd for it, it has a 2.7 out of 5.
Wow.
Anything under a 3 for that movie is wild for me. I didn't see anything in that film that warrants that rating. Are people that big of fans of the original film from like the 60s or something like that? Like, come on. Like, what was so bad about that movie?
That is my favorite Dwayne Johnson movie.
That's your
Oh,
favorite Dwayne
is
Johnson
it?
movie?
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Next up
That's
is
a
The
big-
Rundown.
I think it's his best performance, if I have to be honest. Like I
Mhm.
thought when I saw him cast as Hercules, I thought that could have been his best performance, and then I watched the movie, and that changed the story. But Walking Tall lets him not just be like the tough guy. Like he is the tough guy. Don't get me wrong, but there was so much emotional weight to everything he was doing that it was like, the fact that came out around the same time as Doom is just mind-boggling to me.
Doom.
And you gotta love Johnny Knoxville. Like
Johnny
I just,
Knoxville was
Dude.
awesome in it. I
Yeah.
liked him a lot in that movie.
Yeah, and I had a crush on the main girl in that movie too for a good bit at one point.
yeah,
Great villain
just kept-
casting.
Mhm.
Dude, Neil McDonough, he plays an amazing villain.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, what I like about his portrayal in that is that he's like a believable villain. When you see him, you're like, oh, this guy could really exist in real life right now. It's perfect in that way. And I really need to rewatch that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I really like it. I personally, if I'm picking a favorite Dwayne Johnson movie, I am a sucker for The Rundown. I really like The Rundown.
Damn it, I was about to bring that up there.
I thought he's a perfect blend of like The Rock, but brought to a screen. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he's not doing his catchphrases, but he's still kicking everybody's ass and being, that real tough guy character. And of course having Stifler in there doesn't hurt, but
Oh, Coco, look, you little baby. Coco.
those moments in the movie were
My favorite.
That's where it got my wife on board. She was like, paying attention to her phone for a lot of it, and then all of a sudden, Sean William Scott starts. You want a little thunder, little lightning? Is this your friend? You know him? It's so
God.
good.
And then, of course, the monkeys come in. He's like, what's
monkeys,
he doing?
yeah.
Establishing dominance.
And they can't
Establishing dominance.
And they can't talk at first, so they're like, "It's the monkeys, the monkeys."
Get the monkeys away from me.
So good, so good.
Oh man. Definitely one of my other favorite Rock performances, even though he was not in the movie for long, is definitely the other guys. Him and Samuel Jackson. I want to talk about freaking doing a standalone movie on. I want to know about those two for them to be in the movie together. Why in the hell aiming for the bush is just such a great idea?
Whoever came up with that idea deserves every
raise.
opportunity that they could possibly get in any stretch of the imagination. It's incredible. Game Plan.
gosh.
Okay.
Game Plan is his wife's favorite movie.
Oh, okay. No, I
Oh.
respect it. Look, Game Plan is a respectable film.
Oh,
It's a family movie.
yeah.
Can't
Because
say that
that's
I've
where
seen it in
he's
the
a,
last 20 years, but
that's where he's a quarterback, right?
yeah.
And-
It's
and-
he has a Disney Channel actress as his daughter.
Oh,
That
okay.
was such an underrated movie in my opinion.
Game
Oh, and
Plan.
another one too here. Gridiron Gang from Ashton.
Gridiron Gang. He
Yeah.
was
I
in
should
it.
not have seen that one.
Solid movie.
It is a good movie.
Can we all just agree though his best role is in The Mummy Returns when he is full CGI?
Haku Baseta.
You know what? I just have to say this. I'm really disappointed with how that's aged because I truthfully do get enjoyment and have fun watching the Scorpion King movie. So seeing the reception in Mummy Returns as compared to, because like that hurt the Scorpion King pretty significantly. And people still to this day don't really like that movie. And maybe it's because I grew up on it. Maybe it's not. I'm a big fan of The Rock. I was before recent events. Haku. Jesus. Oh my God.
Do you know what Haku? Connor, quick question. Do you know what Haku Masente means?
I do not. No, I'm a little scared.
It's The Rock has a tiny.
Oh, that's
ding-a-ling.
right. That's right. The hurricane segment. Oh my God.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Well, who are you? Oh, I know who you are. You're nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hold on a minute. Hello? Who is it? Oh, it's nobody. You know why? Because it's nothing.
Totally. You got me there.
Yeah, I saw your attitude which I appreciate the flag back there, the attitude flag of WWE.
Oh, yeah,
man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I had to ask you that one. So,
Yeah, I'm a big wrestling guy.
oh yeah, same here.
That's another franchise. Another film I can't believe turned into a franchise too was The Scorpion King.
You know what?
No business.
What? So, like, have you guys seen the Scorpion King movies after the first one?
Mm-mm.
They're not
Watched
good
one.
at all.
Yeah.
Oh, like, so the Scorpion King 2 has some of the worst CGI I've ever seen on a major motion picture. And by the way, I grew up on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Okay, so yeah, so this is some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. And then I saw like they're on like the 5th one or something. How do they get these greenlit? Who's releasing these?
As the old phrase goes, desperation comes in many forms.
Mm-hmm.
Very fair point. It's probably making a ton of money for like the straight to DVD production company that's making them.
That's one of the best rips I've ever heard in wrestling too. CM Punk was just talking, goes, "No, not like you, Triple H, and the Chaperone." And it goes, "Oh, CM Punk, how's your movies? Oh, mine are doing great. Mine go straight to DVD, just like yours." Like,
so okay, here's a question for everybody: is Triple H better in the Chaperone or Blade Trinity?
I would say Blade Trinity because he had least amount of work to do.
Yeah, he's not a very good actor.
Saying a lot.
He's not a very good actor, is he?
Mm-mm.
You take him
Not
out of the
at all.
game, playing the game, and then he's not very good outside of that, is he? Poor guy.
Ryan Peterson actually asked a good question. Out of the wrestlers today, who can make the jump to Hollywood? There's only one answer, in my opinion. That's MJF. Because he's got the look, he's got the charisma, and
but
he's just
MJF
so
does
bought
struggle
in.
he struggles with like the more serious acting stuff though. Like he can yell, and don't get me wrong, he can project and he can yell and portray emotion really well. But like the thing that I can point to is like he's had a few segments that were supposed to be more dramatic, and he just kind of defaults to the same thing. I personally would want to see I'd want to see Roman in something. Where he can at least play like a decent role, maybe a sidekick. Like you're telling me he can't do what the Rock's
You didn't
doing
like
right now?
Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah, I was going to say he's in Hobbs and Shaw.
I'll be 100% real with you. I did not see Hobbs and Shaw. I have not seen anything in the Fast and Furious franchise since 7. So
okay, well first off, lucky you. Second, I will say Hobbs and Shaw is actually dumb fun. Like
I heard that.
Like because with the Rock, like with of course, if you like the chemistry between the Rock and Jason Statham, like they turned it up a notch in that one. And if you just like dumb fun, that's a movie for you. And of course, the only thing Roman does in that movie is just spear somebody. That's it.
Well,
he doesn't speak at all.
Now, here's a transition. Did anybody see Goldberg's movies?
Goldberg.
Any of them? Goldberg has several movies. Well, he's got Santa's Sleigh where he plays a killer Santa Claus.
That's the only one I know.
Half Past Dead 2 with Ja Rule. He's in The Longest Yard, which I think he plays
that's a good. Okay, I'll admit that one was good with him.
And Kali's in there too.
Kali's in there. Kevin Nash is in there. Steve Austin is in there. Steve Austin, a guy that I thought would translate much better to film than he did. Though I do quite like his movies. It's a guilty pleasure for me.
Go ahead and say his best movie. We all know this.
It's The Condemned. I mean, it's The Condemned.
Is.
The Condemned is I like The Condemned quite a bit, actually.
What about Damaged?
I didn't hate Damaged. I didn't even hate Hunt to Kill. I thought Hunt to Kill had some good moments in it. Like, he's not awful.
I even like the one where I think he's like a janitor or something. Knockout? Is that the one it's called?
Knockout. Yeah, that's when he went through that weird phase of like shaving the mustache part of his goatee, so he just had like the bottom part, and it looked really, really weird. It did not look right.
God, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch The Condemned tonight because, God, it's been such a long time. And plus, I just left one of my favorite jokes Stone Cold's ever done. He goes, "What were you doing?" I forgot to just go with me on this, like I'm paraphrasing. I was like, "Why did you go to Miami Beach?" "Working on my tan." "Why did you blow up a building?" "It was blocking my tan."
Yeah, it was blocking my sun. I love that. I really do think that movie's a lot of fun. I wish people would give it a shot.
Great concept for its
an
time.
Awesome concept. People have called it like a ripoff of several movies, and like that's fine if you want to think that, but it's like,
what do you think 12 Rounds did with John Cena? It took pretty much the two popular concepts in action movie history in the one movie.
In To be fair, 12 rounds is not looked upon very favorably by many people. I didn't hate it, but it's not good, and for me at least.
They made a sequel to that too, didn't
They
they?
did with Randy Orton.
Oh my god! Was it at a WWE event? That was the thing they were.
That was the countdown.
Oh my god! I forgot
That was
oh
Dolph
God.
Ziggler's movie, The Countdown. You don't remember Dolph Ziggler's movie, The Countdown?
Oh,
How could
shit.
you forget Dolph Ziggler's movie, The Countdown?
Because unlike everything, we forget a lot of things about Dolph Ziggler just because he's the most underused wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. Like, dang gum, I feel bad for Mr. Siggles. Trying to think of another.
How do you make somebody seem not tough at all? Call him Mr. Ziggles.
The other thing I did like if he goes, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler." Like, just that whole regime is just feel bad for the dude. But God, there's another wrestler I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember. So give me a minute to think on that.
You know, man, years ago I probably would have said See No Evil, and then I rewatched it here like 2 years ago, and holy hell, I cannot believe I like that movie.
It doesn't hold up well, but if you have nostalgia for that time period, it can help with some of the stuff that doesn't hold up well. You just have to really stretch for it. You know, the second movie I think is way better, leaps and bounds ahead of the first one. But I think the first one's cool because Kane is more of a presence in that movie. His look is really cool. Although they do a really good job with it. The second movie, I think, with
I actually preferred the second one with his look better.
But I mean, like if your sequel has Danielle Harris and your first movie did not, I'm gonna like your sequel better. I'm sorry. I just
and don't forget Catherine Elizabeth or Isabel too.
Catherine Isabel too. Yeah,
she had a really good role in it. The other one I was thinking of is Kurt Angle in Warrior. He didn't have a line in that movie.
Warrior is good.
So, Warrior's one a classic, man. But yeah, with Kurt Angle and his movies, definitely his most viable one is Warrior because he looked like a legit badass in that one.
Please don't watch his other movies. I care about all
definitely of you don't. But Warrior for that little segment.
I care about all of you too much.
Did he even talk in that movie at all?
No, but that's never positive too.
Yeah, trust me, that's a positive. As somebody who watched his awful movie about like killers coming out of the lake, or what was the other one? It was like Deadly Game or something, and Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. Oh my God, I've wasted so much time watching wrestlers in movies. Oh, good God.
What about John Hennigan?
John Hennigan. Okay.
Because I know he does like a bounty hunting movie.
He did some kind of bounty hunting movie that I heard was really fun. I haven't seen it. Probably because I learned my lesson over the years. Like, don't buy a movie, watch a movie, or spend time on a movie just because it has a wrestler in it. I had to learn that the hard way.
Unless if you're one wrestler in particular for only 3 minutes of playtime. Bone Soul is ready.
I will make an exception for Randy Savage. Anything Randy Savage is in, from Space Ghost Coast to Coast to Spider-Man, I am on it.
Mm-hmm. Freak show, you ain't going nowhere. It's so great. And of course, no for Hulk Hogan too.
No.
Hulk Hogan and Gremlins.
Unless if he's Blue Thunder from Rocky 3.
Hulk Hogan and Gremlins 2 is the second best Hulk Hogan in movies. First best is obviously Thunder Lips. That's easy.
Thunder Lips, yeah.
Ryan, do you know any wrestlers or meet any? I have met a lot from Impact. I know Molly Holly. My parents went to school with her parents.
Oh, that's really
nice. Cool. Love Molly Holly.
I got to meet the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, he's got his long sideburns and his hair slicked back. He's coming to your town in a pink Cadillac. He's just a Honky Tonk.
He did.
He did. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, when I was like huge into wrestling, like we had like a little indie show at a hotel here, so me and my buddies went. He was in the main event. He was facing a guy named Dirty Dan Hansen for the major.
Dirty Dan. Wow.
Yeah, Dirty Dan Hansen. He was facing him for the title, and he unfortunately lost, which I kind of figured was going to happen. But
damn,
yeah, I'll be honest, it was a little cringe watching him, but was pretty entertaining watching him dance in the ring. I was like, all right, well, note to self: don't ever do that move again.
For me, the most famous person I met or wrestler I met was Kane, because he's again a Knoxville, like he's the mayor of Knoxville, and he did a convention up here, so I did get a chance to meet him then. And then the most popular referee I got to meet was Earl Hebner. That was a delight because he was my childhood, so it was great getting to meet and talk to him and ask him about his favorite match and all that he officiated. And then, of course, my favorite person, I didn't run into him. I just saw him at a convention, but didn't get to talk to him because his line was a metric, like a mile long. That was Bret Hart. Like, he just randomly walked past me. I'm like, shit, man. This is the best, my all-time favorite technical wrestler who just legit walked past me, and I just froze and said nothing.
My stint with wrestling was very short. I pile drive my brother into the couch and broke it, so I was never allowed.
You had the good old wrestling ban in your house.
I was never allowed to watch wrestling after that, but I grew up on a very short time with John Cena, Rey Mysterio, and all them. But I do go to conventions where I did hear Ric Flair, and you can just hear him like, woo, like from like across the convention center. It's great. But
Ric Flair is Ric Flair 24/7.
How does he have the energy for this, man? It's probably why he looks like he's like 90.
It's called Viagra for Ric Flair.
Well, yeah, probably very fair. Gets the blood flowing for him, right?
I did get to meet Ryback at one point because he was here doing his signing, and it's back when he was feuding with John Cena. So I had his blue shirt on. He just looked up at me, looked down at his picture, looked back up at me. He's like, "That's a stupid shirt," and I'm like, "Thanks." Signed a paper.
You're a stupid human.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? He probably wouldn't appreciate my T-shirt right now.
Yeah, probably wouldn't. Although right now there's like not many who would. People are very mixed on that person. Honestly, it's weird. My wrestling fandom has been like full. But I was literally watching that out of the womb. I was born at the height of the Attitude Era, so like my parents were watching WCW and Raw is War, flipping back and forth. So like from the time my eyes opened, I was watching wrestling. I haven't met too many though. Like I hadn't been to a wrestling show before. I went to an Impact show just before the pandemic in 2020. Before that, I hadn't been to a wrestling show since 2004. I didn't really get to meet anybody. There was some wrestlers who came to the mall that I grew up by called, if anybody listening is from the Chicagoland area, Woodfield Mall. Go check it out.
Damn. You're from around the Chicago area and you haven't gone to a WWE?
See, because I moved to Georgia like 10 years ago. So we don't really get much here. But Impact came to Atlanta in 2020 and I got to meet just like anybody there. I was internet friends with Tommy Dreamer for a little bit, which was fun. Yeah. I love that guy. I'll say that. And Matt Hardy, I talked to a little bit online. But other than that, like just the Impact guys, like they're real cool. I don't know any Impact fans listening, but there's this guy that was working there for a while named Falaba. He talked to my wife. I just stepped away to go take a picture with Tessa Blanchard, and he was just
lucky.
He was like, "Hey, I gotta. Can I move past you? I'm so sorry." And my wife's like, "Oh yeah, I don't care." And then she's like, "That wrestler guy just talked to me." And I was like, "You just talked to Falaba? That's so cool." But yeah, I've met a few. Nobody notable that people would know. Maybe TJ Perkins, if you guys watched WWE in like 2016, you'll know him.
Suicide.
Well, Tessa would.
Yeah, well, he was Suicide too. Yeah, he was Suicide for a while.
Tessa would have been a great one to have on your resume too until off her bullshit went down.
I still have the picture, but I don't post it anywhere.
No, I wouldn't if I were you, man. But I was so disappointed because I wanted WWE to sign her and have her and Toni Storm wrestle at WrestleMania would have made money. But even Toni Storm just
an awful person, It's
horrible.
It's a shame when that happens, But I don't know. Oh well.
Yeah. Man, we went so far away from Beetlejuice too.
Yeah, but I love how live streams do that though. So that's awesome,
dude. These are the things I love about doing these podcasts. Like just going on tangents, just talking about things for a while, and you're like, oh yeah, we were actually talking about this for a while. But
yeah, what's next?
Right, man. We did that one time when I was doing the Talkalorian. Not this last season, but the season before. Like we went from talking about the Mandalorian. And then we were talking about God of War. And then we talked about WWE for a little bit on there too. And then we went to something else. And I'm like, oh yeah, so the Mandalorian, that was a good episode. Oh yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
But oh man, but wow, I got a whole lot of nostalgia there talking though, because man, like I used to be huge into WWE. Like it was literally my life for like over a decade, and then. I don't know. It wasn't really mixing with me as well as it used to. So I was like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people have that fall off point. I get it.
It's called Vince McMahon.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's funny because like, and I think Austin, I think you and I might have talked about this a little bit off of camera before something at one point. But when the product, I think like when like 2011 hit, I was just like. At the point where I was really getting tired of watching Raw and SmackDown every week.
Dude, that's around the time I got tired out. And then, of course, the pipe bomb happened and it brought me right back in.
See, now, that's funny because, like, 2010 is like, mid-2010 is when I stopped watching it. But that happened to be the time that, like... So I had started TNA when it was first, like... I've been a TNA fan since, like, 2005. So a long time. And so I was a kid growing up on that. And then around that time, like... Hulk Hogan was in TNA and Eric Bischoff was in TNA and Scott Hall. I loved Scott Hall as a kid. He was in TNA. So I was like, oh man, I got to start watching this. And so I didn't watch WWE from like 2010, mid 2010, all the way to 2016. And I just happened to turn on an episode when Shane McMahon came back. And I don't know if you guys have any strong opinions on that, man, but Shane McMahon was like my hero as a kid. He was fighting Kane. He was jumping off of stuff. So he was my guy. When he came back, I watched wrestling all the way up until the pandemic, and then I got sick of it again and only watched AEW until
I bet you were so sad about this past WrestleMania with Shane McMahon.
So my uncle was in town then, and he doesn't live around here, so I was talking with him, and my dad's watching WrestleMania, and he's texting me, and he goes, he hates Shane McMahon, so he goes, OMG, Shane McMahon and an angry face. And then he goes, I don't know if I don't want to say too many awful words
Shane
here,
McMahon,
but he was like, holy shit. And I was like, what? And he's like, you're not watching this? And I'm like, what happened? And then I pulled up Twitter and I saw what happened, and it broke my heart. I know people aren't big fan of any of the McMahons right now, but God, you hate to see somebody get into a match and then 5 seconds in completely obliterate their knee. Is just the worst thing that could possibly happen besides death. Like it's
or
death
jumping
and
off
then,
of a 20-foot cage
and then blowing a quad 5 seconds into a match.
Dude, what's up with Vince's look now? Like
he's just lost his mind. Let me just say this. Okay, Vince McMahon has always been a real life supervillain. I'm convinced. And he just took it to a whole new level with this like evil Walt Disney look he's got going on right now. He looks like Bizarro Walt Disney, and I don't like it. He's creepy. He just creeped up his look a little bit, you know?
He looks extra plasticky now.
But he looks like somebody who would have the allegations that he has against him. So he changed it up to match his recent news articles.
And Carl, did you say that you got back into wrestling in 2016 when Shane McMahon came back on TV?
Yeah, that was when I got back in. So I was in like, I don't know if you were watching around then, but like SmackDown.
Oh no,
was, like,
I was
really
going to make the
around.
comment. I was actually at that WrestleMania in Dallas when he jumped off Hell in a Cell.
Wow, I'm jealous. I've never gotten to see Shane.
It was the craziest shit. I was like, dude, this fucking old guy's not going to do this. But he legit, once he did the whole
when he does the cross.
Once he does that, I'm like, oh shit, he's actually going to do it, man. And he fucking did it, man. Like, just I give him all the props in the world at his age at that stage of his time with his kids. Sit in front row watching your dad jump that far up.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
know,
give that man a lot of props, but anything after that was
Oh.
not good with Shane.
I mean, he cracked 2 ribs doing it, so
Mhm.
good on him. I mean, anybody who has the nerve to step into a ring and do the things that these people do every week or every day in a lot of cases is like, God, you got to respect that. I don't, you know, it's just
Big time.
whew, I couldn't do it.
I love Ryan's comment here. I'm convinced
real.
Vince is the real life version of
Yeah,
Power.
you know what? You're not off. He was, you know what he saw? He saw everybody loving Triple H's shows, and he was like, he's getting stronger. I must stop him. And then he comes back, mustache and all, looking like he's about to sing the worst version of Mambo No. 5 you have ever heard.
Oh,
And yeah, it's not pleasant.
oh,
but no, it's
that
just
song again.
at the end of the day.
Sorry for comparing creepy Vince McMahon with Lou Bega. I'm very sorry, everybody. I will put myself in jail for that one. That was bad.
But man, what's just so sad is Vince McMahon is just so jealous of Triple H because he turned into a developmental brand of NXT and made it anything better than Vince has ever done ever. And then once he got control of the main roster, it was actually doing so damn good. And then he had to come back and just ruin it.
I think it's like with anything, you know, I think film fans can understand that. Like I was having a conversation with somebody who doesn't really watch wrestling about this. And they were like, oh, that sounds like a movie studio, you know, like when a movie studio is like, hey, you know, you have all the control you want. And then they show up on the 3rd day of shooting and they're like, hey, we're going to change some things. It's like
Zack Snyder, DCEU, Justice League. That's exactly what happened.
Well,
right
Star Wars is another big example. I mean,
that's another one too.
The Star Wars sequels, like I know Austin's a big fan of them, and so are a lot of people. They're movies that were made for people to enjoy, and the people who do, I appreciate them for that. But they're also movies that were given a direction at first, and that the studio or the head of said studio making the movies decided that they wanted to change a lot of things about it. And it's like, it's funny how different sectors of entertainment are so different from each other. You know, wrestling's very much like a very antiquated style of entertainment. It's live theater that they put on TV every week, and but it still has the same problems that television shows have or that movies have. It's entertainment as a whole has all these problems that you'd like to think everything would be better without them. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it one day, but for now,
yeah,
unfortunately, no.
Yeah, you got that right. So, Brett, I guess any final thoughts or comments on your topic?
Oh, wait a minute. Shit, I forgot about that. But no, man, never anything else about my topic, man. So I'm just looking forward to Beetlejuice too. But sorry for the long question.
Yeah.
All good. That's a good conversation. I've really enjoyed that one a lot. So, Connor, I guess we will get to your topic. So what would you like to talk about?
Ooh, so I was thinking about this pretty heavily, and I think at the end of the day, has anybody just brought up the general topic of like superhero films?
We talked about it a little bit with the MCU fatigue.
MCU fatigue.
Nerdy Leon mentioned.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like early. I wanted to talk like pre-MCU superhero movies, and I was gonna originally bring up wrestling. We've already gotten that talk, but I want to bring up like pre-MCU movies because recently for our show, I had to watch something. I can't reveal it yet, or Gabe's gonna kill me. But it made me want to revisit a whole bunch of things, and so like I don't know if you guys saw this, but the first 4 Superman films just came out on 4K like a couple days ago in a box set. Really cool box set. I recommend anybody, if you have the money, put it towards this. I was so lucky to have Amazon gift cards stashed up so that I could purchase it. But it got me thinking about like MCU movies that were just so either well received or that we love so much. And I just wanted to kind of gauge everybody's thoughts on what their favorite pre-MCU superhero films are, what their least favorite are, just anything about the topic.
Brandon, we'll start off with you for this one, I think.
Personally, it had to be the Punisher. It
Ooh.
was the most because the other ones were, I don't know why they did Elektra. Or Ghost Rider. Well, they did Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was really good. I would probably have to say Punisher because I just love like the feel of it. It was really dark and like it was very practical. There's nothing like it was a very well. It's hard to believe that like your whole family's on a vacation
Right.
and they just get massacred. But like that's really hard. But like I don't know. I honestly I loved it. Like it was very tragic. You fell in love with the main character because he was going like he lost his whole family. So of course
Right.
it's gonna be hard for him. And then you fell in love with like his neighbors, which was awesome because like they
That
end
was
up
my favorite part
helping
of that movie. Yeah.
they helped him kill like they're just like all of a sudden he's doing like the fighting scene where it's like he's fighting in his room and it gets like he goes through the into the other room where they're
And they were jamming
eating.
the all body.
Yeah. By the way, another wrestler, Kevin Nash, is Russian in that scene. So
Big sexy.
Oh yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool throwback. But
And,
now,
and
what about
so,
outside of Marvel? Like a DC, like just I guess comic book movie as a whole. Would that be your favorite comic book movie as a whole before the era of like MCU movies? Or
I would say that or Ghost Rider was fun. Like I
Ghost Rider?
liked yeah, because even though people like I always like a Nick Cage movie. Like it's just
it's Nick Cage.
always something Nick Cage is always gonna be fun. Other than that, like I wasn't in Blade. I'll be honest. Blade was
Oh.
hard for me to get into. But yeah, that's pretty much it really for pre DCU or MCU. So
Right.
Alrighty. We kind of touched upon it just a hair, but I love that question out because I'm a big fan of pre MCU. Definitely would go with Brendan's pick of the Punisher. Love the Punisher. Thomas Jane is an excellent Frank Castle. Very underrated. I always bring this up. The soundtrack of these early movies were phenomenal too.
Great
Like the
soundtrack,
Punisher
yeah.
soundtrack, definitely one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Banger after banger on those. So that was great. And plus, John Travolta was actually a pretty decent bad guy in that movie. I wish he had more to do with it, but for what he was able to do, I thought he pulled it off really well. And the action scenes were good. It's more related to the comic book too, as well, with the story and the origin and everything. So I thought the Punisher, absolutely phenomenal. But actually, the one I will mention as my favorite, if we're not counting Spider-Man and all that, because technically Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is the first movie in the MCU, according to people now.
It's still pre-MCU era. You know, the MCU era, I think, starts
it's because of No Way
Iron Man,
Home. They
for
want to emphasize that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is
Right.
technically the first MCU movie, which I call bullshit. But but I still enjoyed the joke. But the one I'll definitely go with is Daredevil with Ben Affleck. I think
Oh.
that movie is so like too quiet. I feel like more people need to watch that. I thought it was excellent. Love the suit. Love how they present his powers with like ring and the vibrations and all that. Looks so awesome. And of course, another great soundtrack in that movie. And plus, John Favreau is in that movie too. And I like seeing John Favreau in the movie. And plus, it had Elektra, the good version of Elektra in that movie. And Colin Farrell was playing Bullseye, was a great pick. And what's the name of the actor that plays Kingpin?
That's Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, love him. I thought, and I had no issue of him being Kingpin, even though they say Kingpin's white. I have no issue with that. I think he still resembled like the bodiness, and it's just everything that makes Kingpin Kingpin. He embodied.
Just cast the right actor. Don't matter what they look like. Yeah,
my man, exactly. So that's why I love that role. So that's my favorite pre-MCU Marvel. But for regular, like hero in this before the MCU. I was a big sucker for the TMT movies, 1 and 2. They were my childhood, especially the second one with the Secret of the Ooze. Rolls off the
Secret of
tongue
Ooze.
better.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue better. Ooze. But that one's great, and plus that one has Kevin Nash in it too, playing the
it
Super
does.
Shredder.
Super Shredder, yeah.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
I love that. That's my childhood, of course. Freaking Vanilla Ice singing "Go Ninja, Go," classic.
Man, I don't know. Like, I have so many that come to my mind because I
It's
kind of
hard.
talked about them a
Yeah.
little bit. Because like I've even gone like off like MCU or Marvel, DC. Like one that comes to my mind right away is The Crow.
I mean, yeah.
Damn,
that
great one.
Movie is
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, I would literally say it's one of the very few like movies I would call a masterpiece personally.
Oh.
Mhm.
And The Mask, I love The Mask. Like, I love Jim Carrey. He's like my favorite actor of all time. So I have such fun, huge nostalgia for The Mask.
Favorite Liar movie, or favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time?
Liar, liar.
Are you my man? That's my favorite comedy of all time.
Yes, it's tied for mine. I've been going back and forth between that and Young Frankenstein.
Ooh,
Young
see, that's a good
Frankenstein's
one.
so good.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I still need to see Young Frankenstein. Don't hurt me.
Oh,
Dude,
you should.
yeah.
Have you seen all the rest of or most of the rest of the Mel Brooks movies? Or
Yes, Robin Hood Men in Tights is my favorite
oh, okay.
because I love the whole Robin Hood lore and the jokes they made for it, especially
Yeah.
with Blinken. Like,
Oh,
just make
Blinken's
me
a great
floor.
joke.
Did you?
I was just
say
curious. I was like,
Blinken?
I was a little worried. I was like, if he's not seen Young Frankenstein, that's like the Mel Brooks movie. What else has he not seen? Okay.
Yeah. Well, my friends make fun of me a lot for movies I have not seen. Trust me, got plenty of them in the tank. But definitely, Young Frankenstein, I definitely want to watch sooner or later. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So
You're good, man. You're good. But I mean, for me too, it's hard not to come back to the Tobey Maguire movies because again, I grew up with them. Like Spider-Man, like I said earlier, is just like one of my favorite just characters in general of all time. So it's hard not to come back to those. Ryan brought up a good one, X-Men. I actually don't hear a lot of people actually talk about the X-Men movies very much. Fantastic Four, I can live without those. But even another one nobody really talks about is the Eric Bana Hulk movie.
My co-host is a big fan of that movie.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he brought it to the show. I'll give
him props for that one. That did not do much.
I didn't have a lot of fun watching that one back, but that's okay. I respect that movie because it had a lot of ambition. And when a movie has that much ambition and it tries to do what that movie did, it's a really bold move, and it's a move that you're either going to really get behind or you're really not going to get behind it. Unfortunately, I fell into the latter category, but my co-host who brought it to the show was like, he's a big Hulk fan. He was really excited for that conversation. So I get that side of it for sure.
Plus, it's like the thing too. A lot of people are upset nowadays that there's not a lot of Hulk movies out. But you got to ask the question: well, okay, what are they going to do a Hulk movie on? Name
He's
his
a
villains.
hard character to make a movie.
Exactly. There's only one logical movie you can do with Hulk at this point, and that's called Planet Hulk. Other than that, there's nothing else.
100%.
The fact that that's not a movie yet is insane.
It could. Like MCU missed the mark on that one.
Oh yeah,
it could still. I mean, there's still room
for late.
Yeah, it will be late, but we'll see.
Man, when I think of the Hulk movie, I don't know why. I just remember going to the theater and we got like halfway through the movie and I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh. And I remember it came out around the time Terminator 3 came out. That's what I really wanted to go see. But of course,
Terminator 3, yeah.
Being younger, couldn't go see that. But I remember finding the theater that it was in and I snuck in and watched it. And whoever took me, they knew I was in there because I was gone for a while and I was just standing there just watching it. And they came in, they're like, no, we're going back to Hulk. I'm like, why? This is way better. I don't even know what's going on. This is already
Robot
better.
Chick.
Yeah, Robot Chick. Arnold. like, what's not to like? But like, that's what I always think of. And unpopular opinion, I really, really enjoy Rise of the Machines. It's like one of my favorite Terminator movies.
It's my second favorite Terminator movie.
Oh, hell
really?
Yep.
Whoa, your second?
Yep. Terminator 2, then Terminator 3.
Dude, I give you mass respect for that. Like me and Brad always talk all the time. We are more interested on different lists than the common list. That one's different, man, and I respect you for that. That's awesome.
I really enjoy Terminator 3. I picked it for our show a while ago. I was so adamant to get that movie on the show because the fact that it was under a 3 was a crime for me. I don't understand the hate. And even hearing my co-host tell me why he didn't like the movie, I was still like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. So yeah, good. It's good. But Hulk coming out around the same time. That's interesting that you. So are you mentioning it now as like one that you do enjoy, but then you had no interest in it, or do you also not enjoy that movie now?
I think I've only seen it once since I went to it in the theaters, and
okay, got you.
I don't really remember much of it. Just the look of the Hulk. That's all I can remember for the movie, unfortunately. So, I mean, if you want a popular list, then Brett, you should look at my list of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Ooh, I need to look. I need to take a gander at that one.
I'll send you my Halloween ranking too. I know that'll be a little controversial. So
yeah, again, I love controversy lists just because
I got quite a few.
I like it. That's like me and Brett. Like the reason we like them is because we want to like see a different perspective of what people think.
Yeah,
and so we can understand it. Like we don't agree on it, obviously, but you at least if you could at least understand it. Like, okay, you know what? I can see why they like it from that perspective. And then, like, if it also it could even make you rethink of your list or like your options and all that too. So that's why I love looking at different lists. So if yours is controversial, send them my way. I love looking at them.
We'll have to do some kind of talk about that at some point.
All I will say is you're going to see the top 2 and you're going to be like, what?
I hate this guy.
I got to say, like, my thing is this. I don't know how everybody doesn't have a weird ranking. Like, I don't know that I have a single ranking of movies that is not controversial to like fans of whatever it is. Like from Halloween to even something as small as Leprechaun. we did a big special in March for the Leprechaun movies, and I was like, I can't believe that my list is this like divisive. Like I had so many. Every list that I make of a ranking is like, I feel like I'm going to make somebody cry, and I'm like, I don't really care. Honestly, I just even Star Wars. Like my Star Wars list is weird for people, so it's like. Yeah, I don't know. I would say, yeah, that would be a fun conversation to have, just unconventional rankings. It's always a fun thing.
I'm jealous of that now. Like, Brad's going to say, Brad, how dare you give that idea away, you bastard? Like, what are you doing?
Hey, look, if you ever do it, look, that's not our thing. So if you ever do that, let me know if you need somebody, because I will be there in a heartbeat.
Absolutely hit you up. And like, not to kind of like Guccio or anything like that. But Connor, I've been a fan of your all's Not That Bad podcast. So y'all doing an amazing job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like everything. I like everything that you guys are doing over there at Good Reel. I like, this is the fun thing about these kind of conversations, right? Is that like, it's kind of hard to network, but if you just end up on a show with somebody, it's fun to have these conversations and see what everybody thinks. Like the fact that we all have these fun, different opinions so far, at least about this topic that I haven't been here super long, by the way. You guys have been talking for longer, but just the topic that I've brought up here, just hearing everybody's like different opinions. You got some similarities there, but it's different. That's the fun part of movies for me. I'll never understand the attitude of like, oh, you don't like what I like? Well, you go to hell. Like, why? Who cares?
I know what that's like, because my top 2 favorite franchises of all time are the 2 most toxic of all time. That is Star Wars and Halloween.
That's exactly me too. Yep. That's exactly me too. Yep.
They're like, you're a Star Wars fan? I'm like, yeah. And then I talk to horror people. They're like, you must be a Halloween fan. I'm like, oh, how'd you know?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, yes, I am.
Yes.
I would say MCU fans are giving it a run for their money at this point, and Zack Snyder fans are giving those fans a run for their money. Mm-hmm. I said something about a Zack Snyder movie online on Twitter at one point, and those tweets are not there anymore. I was tired of getting messages that were all, first off, death threats are one thing, but when they're spelled wrong, you just you just you don't take them as seriously,
Or
but
grammar.
you also kind of look at it and you're just like, man, I'm really tired of deciphering this. Like, it's practically hieroglyphs. It's like, I don't need this in my life right now.
That's funny.
So
Shit. That's
yeah,
funny.
Unfortunately, toxic fans exist, but
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm toxic with my wife sometimes because she will say some outrageous things like she can't stand Back to the Future, which
My wife
just-
is like that too.
I'm just like that is.
my wife's
She
never seen it, so
she hates Marty McFly. She thinks he is the biggest idiot to ever walk the face of a movie.
It's so weird to me because it's just like you look at when these movies were made and it's just like this is like peak cinema. Like
yes.
this is amazing. And so that's why it's like you're wrong. And so we're just gonna leave it like that.
I just want you to know that you're wrong. As long as you know you're wrong, we're on the same page.
You
And
should have said this. Great Scott!
So I am like a big proponent. Like man, the rankings and everything, I love seeing them because I love like seeing it. Like take for instance, Visions. Austin did a Visions ranking. A lot of them I disagreed on. I think a lot of them I would put more to the top that he had on the bottom. And so it's just like it's just cool to see. And so
Yeah.
you meet people and you have these discussions like this, and it's just like I didn't see what you saw, but it's a different point of view, and we can
Well, it can also
meet, have
change
fun.
your opinion too.
Right,
Like
that's
I've
true.
had so many conversations with people that have completely changed my opinion. And this is a movie that my opinion has not changed on. It's still where it is in my place in my ranking. But I see so much love coming out of the wood, out of like under rocks. I guess I don't even know where it's coming from for the Halloween Ends, and I hated that movie, and so. But seeing all the love for it, like I'm really considering revisiting that movie now because I just, you hear people talk about it and you go, oh, I never thought about that. Or, that's the beauty of talking movies with people. Nobody has the same brain and they're never going to take the movies the same way. You may feel very closely, but at the end of the day, like in Austin, we talked about this when you had me on that awesome Tales of a Star Wars fan show, which thank you again for having me on. It was an honor. We talked about how movies make you feel, and movies make every movie has made somebody feel similarly to another person on the earth, but nobody has felt the same. So having those conversations is really fun. I almost wish that was my topic now of unconventional rankings of what's your most unconventional ranking. But these conversations are always fun.
Plus, if we all had the same list, everything would be boring.
It'd be so boring.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
So, but no, Connor, if you don't mind me to add a layer question to yours, I know we talked about pre-MCU, but what about like during MCU of what's the best superhero movie is?
Ooh, I really like that. I really like that addition.
Because two come to my mind already, but I'm curious about yours.
Is it just strictly MCU or just superhero over?
No, like
overall?
it could be like a Marvel entity that's not MCU. It could be DC or anything superhero related.
Oh, that's tough.
Here, I'll start off the chain here, Van. My obvious two are The Dark Knight with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. And then the second one, possibly one doesn't get talked about as much, and one of my ever good buddies will appreciate this, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim is a good pick.
So damn
That
good,
is a
dude.
solid
Like
pick.
everything you love in a superhero and a video game like entity, it combines everything so perfectly. You can even say I lesbian that movie.
I like the reference. I really like the reference. That's a movie that I think is really underrated. When people ask me about underrated movies, that's towards the top of the list for me. You just don't hear the love for it, and it's a crime. Cast is incredible. It's directed by Edgar
the
Wright.
cast is crazy.
Edgar Wright as a director, I think, is underappreciated. I mean, Hot Fuzz to me is like nearly a perfect film, if you ask me. It's got everything.
He did
you
Last
could
Night
want
in
from
Soho
it.
too. And
He did
it's a
Last Night in
great
Soho.
movie.
He did Shaun of the Dead. He's done so many things.
Banger after banger.
Yeah, I mean, even like, and it's controversial to talk about this movie right now because of an actor in it, but Baby Driver I thought was very well directed as well. So he's done a lot of great stuff. But I'm having a hard time thinking of this question. I hope somebody has an answer before me. I think I have it, but I need some time.
So we just saying just superhero at all, or
Anything
just hero?
superhero related, like that's
During the
not
MCU
MCU.
era. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't really have one, I guess, but I would say honestly, one of the ones that the older one that I love the most, Last Action Hero. You ever heard, with Arnold Schwarzenegger? One of my favorites of all time. Actually, one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies of all time. I think sets up in the 1993. Like, I love that movie, and so there's not really, other than action, like superhero that's not MCU that I watch. That's like not a movie. I watched a lot of like shows like Invincible. So like stuff like that. I'm not like a huge like watch
Not a
something
superhero
else.
guy.
Yeah.
I get it. No, I get it. Like, especially nowadays, it's really hard for me to get excited for a superhero film. Just because,
That's
like,
not MCU.
even in the MCU for me, like, I skipped a lot of MCU movies, and the last one that I saw was Infinity War because I just got so tired of it. I just don't care about this enough. I grew up a DC kid. That's what I grew up on. I grew up on the Tim Burton Batman films. I grew up on the Superman movies. I grew up on the Super Friends TV show from the 70s and the Justice League TV show from the 2000s. And those are the things I grew up on. So the Marvel characters, like, I didn't have a reason to really care about them. And when the movies were coming out, I was seeing them late. So all I was hearing was nonstop hype about how great these movies were. And then watching them and being like, that was all right. With the exception of a few. I mean, I think, Captain America Winter Soldier is probably my favorite of them. I loved Black Panther. I loved, a few of them. But, it's tough. As far as the era goes, like in the MCU era, but it's not an MCU movie. Talk about controversial. I guess I'll pick one. I'd say the Batman. I really resonated with the Batman.
Yes.
It's in a controversial spot on my list of Batman movies because I just have to be, that guy. But I'd say that to me was probably my favorite of all the movies that are like during the era of MCU movies that are not within that realm. I'd say it's my favorite, honestly, of that time period, whether it's in or out of that realm, to be completely honest with you.
I'm going to change my answer. Hellboy. Sorry.
Okay.
Hellboy's a solid pick.
Hellboy.
Now, is that Hellboy with Ron Perlman or Hellboy with David Harbour?
Oh, definitely Perlman.
Okay. I had a feeling. I just wanted to be safe.
Definitely Perlman. I don't. Yeah, the other two, they can, they can go somewhere else. But I'm saying those two. Ron Perlman was a fantastic Hellboy, and it's just everything about it was so fun to me, and so it's just like, I don't know. It was very like, I haven't read any of like the comics or anything, but it was just so fun because it was during the era of like I always had like a really deep pleasure for like when I was a kid and growing up for like B-rated movies. Like in the early 2000s, like B-rated movies were fun to me. It was just like I could watch them all day. I can just turn them on and that'd be something. Like Hellboy was something that I loved and I just wanted to get more of. So that's not MCU. MCU is just constant fast food sometimes, but it's just, and so yeah, that's all.
Did you like Van Helsing?
Oh yes. The Hugh Jackman one. Is that what you're talking about? Yep. I love that one. Yep.
Awesome. What about you?
Man, I definitely would have to still, DC wise, I'd agree with Connor. I'd probably say the Batman. That has
over the Dark Knight.
Oh yes,
Really?
I think the Dark Knight is overrated. Good movie. I honestly, I think I know.
Oh no, Brett's gone.
Oh boy.
Here's what I'll
I've
say.
s-
I'll actually somewhat agree with you. The only reason I'm going to agree is because people really do hail it as like, oh, Brett's gone again.
Okay, I'm done.
I think truthfully, it is. If I'm really being honest, it's not where it would be for a lot of people in my Batman ranking, and I think it's just because people talk about it like it is going to be the greatest thing you ever see in your entire life, whether it's a Batman movie or any other kind of movie. And I just don't think it's that. And when I watch it, I'm expecting that because that's what I've been built to expect. I'm getting a fantastic experience. I'm getting a near. I give the movie a 4.5 out of 5. But something's missing there for me. I don't connect and I think truthfully, I'm not a huge fan of that version of Batman. If I have to be honest, I'm just not a Christian Bale guy as a whole. I think he's great in American Psycho. He's got great movies. He's not my style of Batman. So I gotta agree with you in a weird way there, Austin. Even though you are bold for saying it, I will back you on that one. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I will actually say, like, out of all the Batman movies, and I guess even the Nolan trilogy, like my overall favorite Batman movie of all is Batman Begins.
Yeah. Okay.
I was about to pull another one out, and that was it.
Yeah, I think like as an origin film, like the first half as an origin film is fantastic.
Perfect.
Personally, Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, the best Batman villain I've seen on screen personally. Just the way he dissects everything, like even just trying to destroy Gotham, like. Well, again, yeah, the voice, the Batman voice, is not good. Like that, just
where are the drugs going?
For me, that was the thing. I didn't really have like I always knew it was dumb. All right, I always knew that, but I didn't realize how dumb it was until the comedian Pete Holmes started tearing it apart with his Batman sketches. That for me just completely ruined everything about that voice. It's so strange. It's such a weird choice.
I blame college humor.
Yeah, that's exactly those sketches. Like they just oh boy.
Harvey, thank God you're here.
I love that. Okay.
What? Two-Face, you're back.
That's a really good one. The one with the Riddler is really good. Patton Oswalt plays.
Did you say helicopter?
Yeah. Is it helicopter?
That's what I said.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. Yeah, those are great. But it ruined the voice. It really did.
Oh, the greatest one of all time is wait, what? Yeah, I is Natalia Al Ghul here to finish my father's work. But
yeah,
we totally had sex. Like a lot.
I love the one where he's up on the roof talking to Superman.
The Superman one is probably my favorite as well. I love
S stands for hope. Hope starts with S, stupid.
Hope starts with H, stupid.
Like, oh God.
It's so good. Yeah, I like there's a few good ones. There's a few really good ones. But I think my favorite part of the Superman one is not so much when he's yelling at Superman, but it's when they're talking about that it takes more than a hat and or glasses to fool somebody. Look, and Gordon takes off his glasses. He's like, look, I'm somebody else. And Batman's like, who are you? Where's Commissioner Gordon? It's so great. It's so great.
There's the most underrated one's the freaking Penguin.
The Penguin one's really good.
You know you just killed that guy. No, he's just napping. I'm good at it. No, I'm pretty sure he's dead. No, he's not dead. He's taking a very deep nap.
The Scarecrow one. I don't know if you guys have seen the Scarecrow one, but that one's really good.
Girl
too.
Scouts.
I love when he's like, Christopher McDonald. He's like, hey Batman, how you doing?
It's like, hey, most people knew me as Shooter McGavin, but you know what? I'm glad I still have my family.
Thanks for all my work.
Sun chips.
Ukuleles.
Why are you afraid of sun chips? Like, because they'll burn you.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Oh my God.
It's so
Roombas. Wait,
Well, so-
okay, I gotta know this. Why are you afraid of Roombas? How do they know which way they're supposed to go?
So we've heard Austin's favorite Batman movie. I'm guessing, Brett, yours is probably Dark Knight.
It is Dark Knight.
So what's yours, Nerd D Leon or Leon?
Oh, my favorite DC or Batman?
Yeah,
Is that
favorite
what-
Batman movie.
Favorite Batman.
Or are you not a big Batman guy?
No, I would say it's got to be Dark Knight. I mean,
Dark Knight.
yeah, I grew up like going to see those in theaters.
Oh, cool.
Now I'm always, obviously I'm always loved the Michael Keaton Batmans.
Yeah.
And so anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Mr. Freeze or Danny DeVito playing Penguin, I will vote
That
for
was
that.
my first
So-
Batman movie in theaters.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately. But I was a kid, so you can't blame
It's
me.
a fun movie as a kid. When you're growing up, that movie is so much fun.
Bad.
I will gladly show that movie to my kids once I have them.
Oh, I will too. but-
Easily.
And I always loved George Clooney as Batman. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So I know that's probably not all a favorable opinion, but I loved it. So
Love to hear
Do
it.
you like the bat suit?
I always
Bat
loved the
nips.
bats.
Hell, even Alicia Silverstone had bat nips in that one.
Oh,
That was
God.
ballsy at the time. I'm like, I can't believe they got away with that. But
Yeah. Wow.
Oh boy.
another one I'll mention for like MCU now, that's really good in my opinion. It's Man of Steel. I thought that
Oh.
movie was really
Wow.
well done.
I'm more of a fan of BVS. I like BVS more.
The director's cut.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I wish I had more to add to this conversation. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Like when you mentioned the Superman movies or your
Yeah.
the 4K set, I knew immediately you're a original Superman fan, and I respect that.
Honestly, like I really wanted to like Man of Steel because I thought Henry Cavill's a good casting choice, and I think he plays a good Superman. I have a really hard time connecting with Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. I have a really hard time with it, and this is okay. I'm gonna piss a lot of Superman fans off. I'm about to piss a lot of Superman fans
Connor's
off, especially
kryptonite,
fans of the
everybody.
originals. Yeah. So it's my least favorite of the Superman movies, including
Steel?
Superman 4. Yeah, Man of Steel is
okay.
my least favorite.
But you know
And
what? I understand that though.
it includes Superman 4, which literally has a scene where Superman throws a nuclear warhead into the sun that contains DNA on it, and it forms his villain, Nuclear Man. I like that more than Man of Steel. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
controversial. I hope there's no Superman fans listening to the show right now, or I am in trouble. But for now, I'm just gonna have some fun. But Man of Steel, it's a spectacle of a movie, and I did appreciate the fact that Batman versus Superman played on the fact that what these heroes do is great and all, but it's also really damaging, and I like that they used Man of Steel as a starting point for that, and then really let that seed grow in Batman versus Superman. That is something I really did like about those movies, is that they showed that being a hero is not all rainbows and
cracked out to
unicorns.
be.
You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
this. I mean, people die. Innocent people die because you're trying to stop these villains, and it's not always because of the villain. Sometimes it's because of the hero. And
Yeah, it's like they also are not accountable to their actions too, which kind of like again what Civil War addressed in that movie too. It's like, hey, all the superheroing stuff, yeah, cool, we appreciate you, but what you try to do good also results in bad,
Right.
and it's never been addressed. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Well, Connor, you don't have to feel alone because I'm not a Superman fan. I think Superman is the most overrated superhero of all time.
Same.
Oh.
I'm the
So
same
you don't
with
like
that
any
one,
of his
too.
movies?
I've only seen Man of Steel and that really god awful one with Brandon Routh.
Oh, Superman Returns. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good Lord.
My
That
first
was-
one in theaters.
I
that
will
was
say,
awful.
Austin, I would probably recommend Superman 4 to you. Despite its awfulness, it was made by Canon Films. If you're a big B movie guy, Canon Films is like legendary for B movies. So if you like movies that are intentionally awful, watch Superman 4. I think you'll get a kick out of that one. But sorry to hear that you're not a big Superman guy. I don't think I for a long time pushed Superman away because he's very easy to call lame. You know, he's very like Batman says it in that sketch. He's fucking white bread. You know what I mean? He's such a lame superhero. He's got laser eyes and he's never used them to save the day. He just uses it to warm an old woman's porridge. And, you know, but at the same time, like
I'm gonna watch the freaking super or the.
Oh no,
Batman
I'm gonna watch
now.
those. I'm gonna watch those later on. I will say, I think outstanding value could be added from the original Superman films just because of the fact that they were like the first real major productions of a superhero film. You know, there are exceptions to that, but you know, it's really the first time that they put a lot of money and trust behind somebody to bring a comic book character to life for the masses. And it's definitely a historical event, but I get the hatred for the character in a way because people really hype him up like he's, you know, the coolest. And besides Batman's really like the one that people really love. But
and let me ask you this: have you, since we're talking about Batman sketches, have you ever seen Bang when he's a health nut?
Yes, I have.
That is one of the greatest things. I randomly at like work when I'm bored, I just reference that reference. I go, strawberries are packed with fiber.
That's another voice. Weird decision. Iconic, obviously, but it was just very funny to just watch a movie and just the villain's just like, I was born in the darkness. It's like a raspy Jimmy Stewart or something. It's
I
incredible.
have something to tell you. Stop hitting yourself. God, man, I love that voice so much, man. It's just like, what did you have for breakfast? Or no, the best one is when he's talking about like, all right, everybody's lunch orders. Steve, turkey burger, iceberg lettuce, extra choice, Steve, very high in protein. Not so sure about the lettuce. I would have gone with the big screen. Oh, dude, I lost it when I heard him saying big screen in that bang voice.
Lord.
Oh my God, it's great. I highly suggest it to anybody who has not seen it. And he also has a Christmas one too, and the Christmas one's really good too.
Interesting.
It's like, this guy's weird, but
I think there's a question in the chat. How would from Ryan? How would you do a Superman movie and make it click with today's generation?
well, we're about to find out with James Gunn. I'll tell you that for sure. Which I feel like he can do it.
Yeah, I don't.
Question.
I don't know.
Society,
Yeah, I don't personally know, but
Yeah, I don't know. I for some reason I thought Michael B. Jordan was doing something on the lines of something.
When they were still doing like after Cavill was out and they were still doing a movie before James Gunn stuff, Michael B. Jordan was like the front runner of what they wanted to do with Superman, but I don't think they're going to end up casting him. I think they actually just released a list of potential actors for Superman. I don't believe he was on there.
So is Cavill done with DCU now? Like
DC's done with him. DC's done with everything. DC's done with everything they've ever done, to be honest with you. I mean, they're getting rid of the so apparently, based on what I've heard, is that this Flash movie is going to be like the complete end of everything that we've seen from DC, and then they're picking up with new stuff under James Gunn's direction. He's like he's the Kevin Feige of the.
Does that include Blue Beetle? Or
I think
they're the start of that new one.
So they're still going to be releasing a lot of the stuff they were going to do before. So like the Flash is a good example. I think they're still going to release Aquaman at some point. I don't know when.
That's supposed to be at the end of this year, I believe.
Oh my God!
Oh, end of the year. Okay.
The freaking test screens of that movie were bad, from what I heard.
I mean, I don't think it's all that bad that they're doing this. I mean, it's hard to do Superman that resonates today. I think honestly, the audiences today really want like a balance of humor and serious stuff. So I think like playing on the awkwardness of Superman, like adjusting to life is a fun idea to do, or just like things that he does wrong. People love that about like the Thor movies, you know, where Thor just doesn't know how to act like a human being. So Superman, that would really work for, but you'd have to play with the lore a little bit because it doesn't really make sense for him not to know how to be a human. I don't know. You have to do something with awkwardness and humor because that's what people like now, but it's really hard to get that right with a superhero.
Well, that's another thing that MCU does so well is they pick relatable and good, like likable actors and actresses, and I feel like DCU just doesn't. Like they just pick some out of whack people that no one really likes in the end. Like, you know, Ezra Miller. We'll just bring that up. Like Ezra is going to be he's gone after this, right? He's done with
Yeah,
better be.
I mean, that whole cast of characters, they're only coming back to do, I think, reshoots on things that already exist. I don't think they're going to exist outside of that anymore. DC's biggest problem was that they tried to do what Marvel did. You know, they looked at how Marvel cast, like, you can't tell me Ezra Miller wasn't a direct response to Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Because they were like, okay, young guy who can do funny humor as like, you know, like around teenager age. That's what they went for. It was a direct response. Stop responding, just do your own thing. And that's what they're gonna do now. So fingers crossed, because I really want DC to start kicking tail. You know?
Yeah, I hope they can. I know we talked about it earlier, but I hope they can make a comeback with James Gunn at the helm. I think it's probably the right decision at this point because I don't know. There were a handful of strong movies in the DCEU for me, I guess personally. Like Wonder Woman, like that was something.
I liked Wonder Woman a lot.
I really liked that. I liked it way more than I thought I would. Didn't like the villain. That was probably the weakest part of the film, but. Again, I like BVS. My favorite still is the Snyder Cut. Still been my favorite thing in the DCEU as of now.
Right.
I like the first Aquaman enough to enjoy it that I'm looking forward to the sequel, but at the same time, I do think there's just a little too much comedy in there. Like I know Jason Momoa is having fun playing the role of Aquaman, but like. I'd like a little bit more seriousness in it. That's why I like Henry Cavill as Superman because at least he's still having fun, but he's also playing the role a lot more seriously.
I like Shazam. Shazam is the first one. I haven't seen the second one, but
I haven't heard.
The second one
good
is
things.
so generic.
The second one.
It's too generic for me. So like I like it was okay, but like to go out in the theater spend $20 on it, no.
That's good to know. Yeah, I was like really pushing because I was like they ended so well, but I'm hoping for it to go. He continues so.
And as Ashton said, at least John Cena is staying as Peacemaker. I need more of Cena's dance moves. I still call BS that he lived at the end of the Suicide Squad.
Same.
But
I understand why they did it. I mean,
because he was such a popular character.
Yeah, I just wish they would have made his. I wish they would have made it less of a swerve. Like more believable that he could survive what happened. Because you're right. Like it's hard to buy. It's the one thing. Honestly, it's like it's one of the very few things I did not like about that version of the Suicide Squad. I liked that movie a lot more than the first attempt. That was a problem. I didn't buy that. I haven't seen the Peacemaker show though. I've heard it's very good.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and my buddies are giving me heck about it, so I'm going to try to finish it eventually.
I don't know how people have the time for all of this. Like, when people tell me they've seen like everything that's come out, fun fact, I have not seen a single movie that's come out this year. I just don't have time. I have not seen a single movie that's come out in 2023.
So you've not seen Scream 6, Evil Dead Rise, or...
I haven't seen any of them. Now, I was really excited for Evil Dead Rise. Unfortunately, the red band version of the trailer almost made my wife pass out, so I don't have anybody to go see it with.
Oh,
So
well, the good news
I
is it's
know the
VOD
feeling.
now.
yeah, I'm very excited for it to come out because I am one of the
Well, it's
biggest
out on
champions for
VOD
Evil
right
Dead.
now.
Oh, it is on VOD right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is on VOD right now, so you could go
I'll have
ahead
to
and
I'll
like.
have to check
And
it out.
in my opinion, it is worth a $20 buy if you are a digital collector.
I am really excited. I would probably rent it for now because I would want to own the DVD and Blu-ray because I
good
have
call.
all the rest of them, and I have and like including Evil Dead 2013, which I am a huge champion for.
Then
So
you
I'm
are
so excited for
probably okay. If that's the case, you're gonna like 2013 more than Evil Dead Rise, but Evil Dead Rise is still super close to what 2013 did in terms of tone and atmosphere. So you're still gonna have a great time with it.
I'm so excited. I'm so
It's
excited.
great.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard to have time for any of this stuff now. It's so sad. The only movies I watch nowadays are movies that I watch for the podcast.
The channel.
Yeah, anything else I don't
I know.
don't
Hey,
have time.
welcome to the YouTubing club, my friend. I'm
Yep.
the exact same way. So
Yes. Yeah.
I've only seen 3 movies this year. And I'm still having a hard time of what I want to have as number 1. It's between Scream 6 and Evil Dead Rise, but the only other movie I've seen this year has been the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, did you like it?
I did, actually. It was a lot of fun. We took my nieces to that, and they really liked it too. And we had to stay for the after credits scenes where basically there's going to be a sequel, which I mean, kind of figured anyway.
Oh,
there has to be.
So, do you know the plans with Mario?
Okay,
I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and let you know. Marvel or Mario is the beginning of what we call the Super Smash Brothers universe, which now they're going about to do Kirby, Donkey Kong, Zelda.
No.
Which
why does everything need a franchise?
No more
Zelda.
universes,
Hold on.
please.
I know,
don't
but
want
guess
another
what? I'm
universe.
actually excited for this one. I think this one actually makes sense. And plus, I'm a Star Fox fan, even though I have to wait till 2025 on that one, which I'm sad. But I think actually this one makes sense for a versus movie because it's a popular video game for anyone with nostalgia from the 90s. So I'm actually, and plus it made a bit like it's made. I'm pretty sure Mario joined the $1 billion club recently.
If not, it's close.
It's super close. So like obviously they're like, all right, fan, this is going to sell. So like, I think the next one is supposed to be Zelda and Kirby next year.
Wow.
I'd like to see Mario Brothers. It looks fun.
Oh, dude, it's so fun. It has the most catchy song of all time. So
I have heard it. It's impossible to miss that, even if you haven't seen the movie. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Princess Peach.
Man. Send me into a Shudder. I'm gonna tune out that part of the movie, I think.
You can try, man, but it ain't gonna happen.
I know it's Jack Black. He's too loud. Oh, I love Jack Black though, so maybe he'll redeem that for me. We'll see.
And then Ryan Peterson brings John Wick 4.
I'm very
in my
excited
top
for John Wick
movies
4.
of all time, or of this year.
I have not
sorry,
seen it
all
yet.
time.
I would like to.
So good. John Wick 4 so good. And then another one, probably one that people are undershadowing, which is actually for free on Amazon Prime right now. If you're a basketball fan, especially of the Michael Jordan, I think you know where I'm going with this. Air, spectacular, great acting.
Yes.
Really like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's on Amazon Prime for free right now, actually, which is, to my surprise, man, it's actually free right now. Because that movie deserves like the VOD treatment.
Yeah, it's very good. I loved it. I just watched it yesterday. It's phenomenal. Matt Damon is fantastic.
Best thing of 2023.
It's Viola Davis, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
And then Chris Tucker, and then Ben Affleck. Yeah, all great. What's that guy's name from?
Patrick Bateman?
Is that Patrick Bateman?
Jason Bateman?
Jason Bateman, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Patrick Bateman's from American Psycho.
Yeah, that's American Psycho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they all did really well. I loved it. It was pretty cool.
Matt Damon.
And then the movie, and the one I saw, other than Guardians, was Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Most shocking movie of 2023. I did not expect that movie to be good, and it's such a fun time.
It was really good. I feel like if I needed to play D&D to enjoy it more, because they made some references, and then like obviously the board game and
Oh
how
man,
everything was.
love this.
But it was overall very good. I loved it. It was just something I hope when they make a second one, I think they will. Is that right?
I think with the success of this one, that I think that it's going to be on the cards now. I think originally it was not supposed to, but they didn't think it was going to get that much attention. But luckily it did, and roughly so. It does deserve it. Definitely, I'm not a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, but the movie did such a great job, not only pleasing the Dungeons and Dragon fans, but also mainly focusing on the non-Dungeons and Dragon fans and still making them enjoy the movie for what it was, for like a big adventure movie. So definitely I give that a high recommend watch too of 2023.
Interesting.
I'll have to check that out.
All it is just turn your brain off and just have fun with it.
I'd say my most anticipated film for the rest of the year is Dune Part 2.
Man, I am so upset. I have not had the chance to see the Dune yet. So I've only seen the original Dune. Which,
that movie's awesome.
Oh,
yeah,
shit. I thought y'all were saying Doom. I'm like, the one
oh
with
no,
The Rock?
No. I think the last Doom movie they made was called Doom Annihilation, and it is not good.
And it went straight to Netflix.
It went straight to VOD, straight to DVD, and no bueno. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of movies this year to get excited about, and there's a lot of movies that you could have gotten excited about before they came out. Like I've wanted to see a lot of them. I'm really excited to finally get the chance to see some of these, and hopefully I'll get around to catching some of these soon, because I'm actually, believe it or not, very excited for The Flash. My favorite Batman movie has Michael Keaton in it, so I don't really care about Ezra Miller. I don't care about whatever the superhero that they're introducing in this, or whoever that is. I don't care. I am going to that movie to see Michael Keaton as Batman, and if they don't deliver as much as it looks like they're going to deliver, I am not going to watch it again. So we'll see. Hopefully it does enough to lead to a one-off sequel to the Burton films. Let them both come back for one last ride. I don't care what you do with it.
One last ride.
I just hope they do it. I don't know if they probably won't. I think this is his last ride, but a man can dream.
That's all you can do nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Hey, never say never.
Yeah.
That's
Crazier things have happened.
Exactly.
I mean, they made that Rambo movie I never thought would come, Rambo Last Blood, but
I think that movie
showed up.
So good.
I never saw it.
Oh,
gotta be honest, I never saw it.
But no, it's really good. Like, it's a really good Rambo movie. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I've only seen one Rambo movie, and I think it's the one from, it's either like 2008 or 2010, one or the other.
Yeah, 2008 Rambo. It's just called Rambo.
Just regular Rambo.
Yep.
That's a violent movie. That's a good one.
God,
I like that movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just went to some friend's house, and he just turned it on to watch it. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I've never seen the other Rambo movies. And I'm not the biggest Stallone fan. My favorite Sylvester Stallone movie is Stopper, My Mom Will Shoot.
What?
Yes.
No way.
Dude,
That's amazing.
It has Estelle Getty, the old lady from the Golden Girls.
Oh my god, that's
amazing. She plays his mom. It's a hilarious.
I need to see what that movie is rated on Letterboxd immediately, because
it's low.
What's your favorite Sylvester Stallone movie? I bet you it's Rocky. No, it's Stop or My Grandma Will Shoot. Dude, and you can't even be mad at that. Like, that's fucking that's freaking amazing, dude. Like, that's so
awesome. Great.
I'll be honest with you, last movie I expected you to say.
Yes, Jason.
But my mom would appreciate that.
I probably horribly offend you because I know you're a Stallone guy. I know you love Rocky, but yeah, that's Stopper, My Mom Will Shoot. That's my favorite Stallone movie.
How far down is this? 2.0 out of 5.
Oh, no,
I
5-star
respect the
movie.
hell out of that.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I love that movie. It's so funny. My buddy just showed me it because he talked about it for weeks. I'm like, all right, dude, let's sit down and watch it. And we
Man,
watched it. I looked at him. I'm like, dude, I love that. That was great.
I love when people like either movies that nobody's ever heard of before or movies that are just incredibly under the radar. Like that is so incredibly under the radar. Most people nowadays have no idea what that is. And the reason why is because Stallone was buried so heavily for doing it that he made sure that nobody would ever see that thing again. It is so hard to find any information of where to find that movie or to buy it anywhere. Sort
My
of
mom
like
has
Hulk
it on
Hogan's No
DVD.
Holds Barred. Hulk Hogan's No Holds Barred has been buried. You can't find that thing for less than $50, and that's a DVD copy.
Shoot. My mom has it on DVD, so I need to actually try to find it, like for stuff on my grandmother's shoot. Like, I need to find it because I bet you that's worth something.
It's got to be. It's just so obscure. I love that. Anybody else have any obscure movies they want to show some love for?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
I'll throw one into the hat if I could. I genuinely love the movie. Have any of you guys seen Universal Soldier?
Oh my
original
god!
Van
If
Damme?
my buddy Brad heard you say that right now, he flip out.
So I want to say there's a very underappreciated, under the radar version sequel to that movie. So basically, the first movie comes out, and then they make a sequel with Bill Goldberg, and it's very bad. Michael J. White's in it. But years later, in 2009, they come out with a movie called Universal Soldier Regeneration. And it's just this like cheap looking, like when you look at the cover, it looks cheap. It's straight to DVD, but they bring back Van Damme, they bring back Dolph, and they bring in my favorite UFC fighter of all time, Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky. And let me tell you something. Some of the best fight scenes I have ever seen in a low budget film. The action is shot tremendously. It was shot by a guy who's familiar with action and stunts. If you have not seen that movie, I recommend it. That and its sequel, Day of Reckoning, are both solid movies. And I would very much recommend those two under the radar sequel movies.
Okay. Are we talking about like underwater, like they're not appreciated, or like they're bad, it's good?
I mean, just like sort of like under the radar, now you don't hear a lot of people talk about it. It could be so bad it's good. It could be something nobody's ever heard of. Like if you want to throw Suburban Sasquatch in there, go for it.
No, definitely like so bad it's good for me as the Philosophaster. I'll go ahead and throw that movie.
Oh
dude,
my god! I got 20 minutes into that. I turned it off. That's like
you needed to continue. You needed to get to the third act of it. That's where it gets so freaking ridiculous, man. Like, I could not help, but I was literally tear laughing so hard where my eyes were burning of how much I was laughing.
You have no idea how much my wife has been bugging me to watch that movie with her since she saw it.
They're trying to campaign for a second one, which
I almost supported.
I almost supported it.
They made 5 Sharknado movies, I think. I think they'll get
7.
Yeah, 7.
7 of them? Oh my god!
But no, just to answer your question, the one I support because it's a childhood movie of mine, I love Street Fighter. I don't know what it was. I just loved everything about that movie, especially Shaw-Claw going, "We're gonna catch you on the other side so hard." Like, it's so stupid, man. But at the same time, I loved it.
Man,
I respect that. Solid pick.
I will willingly. I don't know why I want to watch it. I really want
to see
that Winnie the Pooh movie.
Yeah, Blood and Honey.
I saw that in theater actually.
Ooh boy.
I had a free ticket, but no, it's so bad. I'll put it under the category. It's so bad, it's sort of good. Because all you have to do is just if you get a couple of buddies and have like freaking 2 drinks, and then you put on that movie, you can find things to laugh about of how bad it is, but you have a good time with your buddies with it. But on a clear conscience mind, I wouldn't pay attention to that movie at all. And it's okay, though, because they're about to come out with a horror movie with Bambi and Peter Pan, so it's not a big deal, right?
I mean, they made
and
one
they're
for the
doing
Grinch.
a Christopher Robin's TV series, too, horror-related.
Yeah.
So, not a big deal.
Oh, can I not wait until the day that Mickey Mouse hits the public domain and we get a killer Mickey Mouse?
It will never go to the public because you know how many. Hell, even South Park draws the line at times, man.
Oh, that would complete my life. If that movie came out, I would, like Luke Skywalker in in The Last Jedi, would be sitting in my seat in the theater and would just fade into nothingness. I would just be gone. I'd be a Force ghost if they come out with more accurately, if I was sitting on my couch. That movie's not hitting theaters if Mickey Mouse is a murderer. But yeah, I would cease to exist.
Oh my god!
But I'd like to hear from everybody else. Obscure movies that you want to show some appreciation for. Not so much obscure, just like, you don't hear anybody talk about it ever. I got one more that I'll bring up later, but I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks.
Some random movies that I think some horror fans. Rubber was
Rubber,
yeah.
God, it's awful. Beavers.
Rubber, and then Thanksgiving. Always
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I still need to see both of those, but I've seen Sombers before.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point those out because I remember those very obscure that I somehow made it all the way through to the end. But yeah. But guys, I have to go. I appreciate you guys talking to you guys. You guys have been so wonderful, and it's always a pleasure. I hope I get to see you guys again in the next podcast, but thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, buddy. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, good meeting you, man. Good talk.
Yes, nice to meet y'all. And again, Austin, it's a pleasure. Congrats on the 200 subs, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good, man.
Take care.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you, man.
And another one. Have you guys seen Zombievers?
Zombievers, yeah, I've seen Zombievers.
God, that's awful too.
So it was not good.
Oh yeah, there are some movies that are just bad and should stay out of the limelight. That's one of them. Zombievers is one of them. What were you going to say? The next one?
Another one. It's a foreign film. It's okay. Do you guys know who Stephen Chow is?
Yeah,
I've heard of that name.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the guy who made Kung Fu Hustle. If you've seen Kung Fu Hustle,
absolutely.
He made this movie called Journey to the West. Oh, dude, that movie is hilarious.
Oh,
I don't really want. All I have to say is if you're not invested in the first 15 minutes of that movie, I don't know what to tell you. That's all I can tell you without spoiling anything. Just find a clip, watch the opening 15 minutes of the movie, and if you're sold, just go watch it. It's so ridiculous.
I'm definitely going to write that one down.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
I actually saw one today. I'm doing a little series on my own. I usually do around this time of year called 14 Days of New Horror, which is I pick 14 days of the month of May to watch a new horror movie I've never seen before.
Concept.
And I have friends suggest me these movies of movies to watch and all that. I actually watched one from today. It's on Netflix called The Perfection. Really, really good horror movie. I did not expect to like it. It has Allison Williams in it, who plays the crazy chick in Get Out.
Yeah.
She such a good movie. I highly recommend that one. That one needs more love.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I always love the horror genre breeds that sort of type of movie. Like there are so many blind watches that I went into knowing nothing about the film, never hearing anything about it. Thinking movies like Last Shift or The Void.
My buddy Brad mentioned that one too.
And there's one that I'll highlight. I want to highlight one from the horror side that I think people need to see, and then another movie that I think a lot of people have seen, but I don't hear people talk about it. The horror film is a movie called Midnight Movie. It's a very I just picked it up randomly at a store. It looked like cheap B-movie fun, but it's actually like a lot of fun. That's exactly what it is. It's a cheap movie. It's definitely a B horror film. But it's a lot of fun, and it has a really cool concept for the killer. And so I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I recommend that. So bad it's good. I'll just throw a quick one in there. Chopping Mall. please watch Chopping Mall. My wife and I cheer through that movie. So Chopping Mall is a big one. But there is a legitimately great movie that I feel like people today do not talk about enough. The director's cut of this movie exists on Blu-ray. Please find it if you are ever interested in watching this movie. It is so much better. There's a movie directed by Ridley Scott, starring Tom Cruise, and believe it or not, it also stars Tim Curry. And this movie is called Legend. It came out in '85. If you've never seen Tim Curry as the devil in that movie, his name is Darkness. Please look that up. You will immediately want to see this. But make sure if you watch it, you watch the director's cut. It's long. I get it. But it adds so much context to the movie. That is one that not a lot of people talk about these days. It's one of my mom's favorite movies. I grew up on it. Watching the director's cut as an adult, please check this out if you've never seen it before.
Just add it to my watch list. That poster looks awesome,
doesn't it? Yeah, it's a dark fantasy film, so it plays on like a bunch of old like folk tales and such, and it just gives a dark twist. Some of the coolest visuals I've ever seen in a movie, and probably the coolest look of a devil character that I've ever seen. So
What about
check that out.
Tenacious D?
Tenacious D, that was a very good looking devil character as well. Very good movie also. Love Pick a Destiny. Yeah.
Yes.
The only ever two ones I could think of left to mention that needs more love is two movies. Frailty. Bill Paxton directed movie, which God bless his soul. I wish he was here longer with us because he's terrific. And oh my God, what? Okay, no, it came back. Identity is so damn good. It's stacked with a cast. Here, let me load it up real quick and just tell you who's in this movie. First off, the concept is phenomenal. And see here. So, okay, Identity has John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, John Hawkes, Alfred Molina, John C. McGinley, William Lee Scott, like all these great people, and then it's directed by James Mangold.
Oh, James Mangold,
who also directed Logan.
Yes, he did.
So terrific movie. Very underappreciated. And it had a high budget too, and it doesn't get that much recognition. It's crazy to me.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Definitely, really good, really solid.
Mine's just an obvious one. The only one I can think of at the top of my head is The Exorcist 3.
I still need to see that one, but we're doing a review series this October.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people say that's like people are saying it's better than the first one.
I agree.
Like a lot more recently. And
I have
the
a
first
hard
one's
time
one of my
believing that.
favorites. I have not seen it. I know the infamous scene from that movie. There's a pretty popular scene that comes from Exorcist 3 that I think everybody's seen it at one point. I mean, the early days of the internet.
The best jump scare in the history of horror.
One of the best jump scares ever. That's I'm gonna have to actually sit down and watch it one day because it looks like a lot of fun.
Same.
Have you guys seen John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness?
I have not, but that's high on my watch list.
It's another just kind of under the radar film for him. It's pretty solid. He brings back Donald Pleasance in it. It's a interesting movie. Alice Cooper's in it for some reason.
Hell yeah. You sold me on Alice Cooper.
He's like barely in the movie. I mean, seriously, like you see him and you go, was that Alice Cooper? And before you can come up with it in your brain, you've already moved on. He's blinking, you'll miss it, but he's there.
But man, speaking of Exorcist real quick, don't you love the news that the first test screening of the new Exorcist movie bombed so hard? I could not. That was music to my damn ears, man. I was so happy to hear that. And I do not like for movies to be bad because I know people work hard on movies and no one goes out making a bad movie. But I was glad for that one because it had no business to begin with to try to replicate what the first Exorcist did, because no one will ever replicate what that movie has done for the horror genre, but especially back in the 70s. Because the 70s, I appreciate that era because it went balls to the wall crazy, crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed. So I appreciate 70s horror for that.
Man, I don't even know why they're doing it. Like, and
It's the
especially
same
too,
topic
they're
as earlier. It's just
Yeah.
money.
yeah, they're I don't, especially The Exorcist. Like, for a lot of people, it's either the scariest horror movie they've ever seen or it's their favorite horror film they've ever seen. And
It's in my top 15 easily.
it's so iconic. Like, why there didn't even need to be a sequel to it. And I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like The Heretic. I'm in a rare camp. I actually really liked the film. I didn't think it was like
okay.
god awful. But The Exorcist, I mean, it's in the camp with like films like Saw, and I'll even say the original Halloween. I love the original Halloween. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But those films do not need a sequel. Like, those would just be better standalone stories.
I'll throw one more, Jaws, and that I bet you $1 million that'll be the next one. Next is the one they'll try to remake that does not deserve a remake.
It's a tough conversation too. Like, I'm going to say something controversial here. Despite what I said earlier about what I want to see from these movies, I am under the belief that no movie is truly untouchable. If you want to remake something, I'm not going to ever say that it's sacrilege to remake a movie. I'm going to cheer for it. I'm going to hope for the best. The one thing that I can say, though, is that you can sort of tell when it comes from a place of good intentions and when it doesn't. And that's where the difference is for me. The Exorcist, I didn't hear a lot about, so I can't say either which way of how that felt. But like, I think of Poltergeist when they remade that movie, and I was like, it just felt like they were like, oh yeah, that awful Poltergeist movie, yeah, we can make a new one. We can do way better than that. That's what I felt like watching the movie. Now, I also sort of get that feeling watching Rob Zombie's Halloween. However, I very much like Rob Zombie, and I love the second film in that group.
Wait, you're talking about you loving Rob Zombie's Halloween too?
Oh yeah,
you love it.
Yeah.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Okay. We talked about controversy earlier, right?
Say
my favorite Halloween film.
My man, other than the original, it's my number 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
It is my favorite Halloween film, and Halloween is my second favorite film franchise of all of the film franchises. It's Star Wars at 1, Halloween at 2, and it's my favorite horror movie of all time. It's my favorite Halloween film. I love it. I've been to the filming locations here in Georgia. It was filmed about 2 hours away from my house.
Nice.
So I've been there. I've been to a lot of them. Some of them you just can't go see. But I got to see the Brackett House from far away. I got to go to the downtown area. I got to walk the same streets that Lori walked in the movie. I got to see everything. I have pictures of. I'll share them with you, Brett, because I know you really like that movie.
Oh yeah.
But even with that being said, like, I don't think anything is untouchable. But the person who's making it really has to they have to really care about it enough to do it enough justice and to show that there's at least heart in the project, or and you're going to be surprised at this, they have to really hate it. And the reason I say they have to really hate it is because they're going to do something so different that somebody is going to like it. Like, I don't think that everything needs to happen like that. But if somebody watched the original Jaws and they're like, oh my God, I hate this movie, I could do this so much better, you're going to make something that some people are really going to enjoy. Because
guess who you called those people? The modern audience.
Well,
because take Scream, for example. That's the perfect prime example. Is that the newer audience are making 5 and 6 so much successful, and I don't think they really appreciate what the earlier Scream movies have done.
Well, I mean, I think Star Wars to an extent, like Star Wars is another one where the audience, I can't tell you how many reviews I've read for the new Disney films, just trying to get perspective on them. I'm always looking for something to change my mind, and just seeing so many reviews say like, oh, it's way better than any of those 3 boring movies from the 70s or whatever. It's like, what? Like, what? But it's a perspective that modern audiences have. They like a different kind of movie as far as like the masses go. And I think that there is a bit of a change with that. I think in a weird way, like this elevated horror movement, even though I'm really weary about it, still, even though we're kind of getting past it, it opened up people to more nuance in movies and like not having something constantly flashing at them on the screen, and still made a ton of money. And I think that's like something that can show you how it will go. But honestly, like, if you make a movie with enough hatred for the source material, you can really make something that people enjoy. And I've liked a few of those movies that have done that. So, yeah, remake whatever you want. Just either love it or hate it, and do your best with it. Don't just throw it up on a screen.
Yeah, like I know I've talked to you about this quite a few times already, Connor, but like, if you'd asked me 2 years ago my thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I'd have told you it was the worst movie I've ever seen, worst horror movie I've ever seen, worst Halloween movie I've ever seen. And I don't know, the last time I watched the director's cut was right before Kills, and I don't know what it was, but I really liked it a lot. And then last year I watched the theatrical cut for the very first time. I love this movie, man. It's in my top 5 Halloween movies. Like, I never in a million years would I have ever thought that opinion would have changed. Because same thing too with God, what one is Curse of Michael Myers. Like, I hated that movie too.
Oh, Curse. Okay,
it's my 4th favorite Halloween movie.
Wow.
I love that movie
Nice.
to death. But like, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I don't know. I looked at it with different eyes. Like, I kind of just took people's opinions about it, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch it like that. And yeah, I look at it as like a really dark character study of all 3 of the major people in it. You know, Myers, Laurie, Loomis.
Yeah.
Loomis. I hate Loomis in this.
Dr. Loomis, like, he's not the best.
No.
I
Dr.
actually
Loomis,
love what they did with Loomis in it.
Oh.
I'm on an island with that. I just like it because I think it's exactly what you said there. Like, it's an important character study when you watch that movie, because you have Michael who's I mean, out there, right? he's in his own headspace. He's got his goals and he's trying to reach them. And Laurie, what I like about Laurie and Loomis together is that they're both trying to be something that they are not. They're both amplifying parts of their personality that to become somebody different. And what I liked about Loomis, I'd be totally with you guys, or with everybody, honestly. My co-host is a big fan of this movie as well. We actually mention it in every episode of Not That Bad. But except for one, we had to apologize. But anyways, we disagree on this, and I would completely agree with everybody if it weren't for one scene. And it's when he's going into the boardroom to do his big like book talk about Michael Myers, and he gets really upset about the picture of old Loomis, and he's like, I wanted new Loomis, not the old Loomis. And he's really upset about it. I love the fact that they put that in there, because it just shows you the guy's playing a character. He's doing his best to survive the things that happen to him and survive the responsibility he feels like he has. I think the reason he can tell people I don't feel responsible is because he's not the same guy. He's not the same guy answering that question. So I like that part of the movie where a lot of people don't. However, if anybody ever tells me they don't like Halloween 2, I understand it. I know, Austin, we had this conversation. I haven't talked to Brett about this, but the first time I watched it, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, had to talk me out of snapping the disc in half after I took it out of my Xbox. I was like, I don't want this. I hate this. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm just gonna break it. And my wife was like, you just bought the whole collection of movies. You don't want to have one missing. And finally, I was like, you are right. I will put it back in. I will never watch it again. It's only for the fact that I was writing a script that was commissioned for me that I had to talk about trauma with characters. And I was like, at least I know they did that well. Let me rewatch it for that and that alone. And that was the viewing that clicked it for me. And it's gotten better ever since. It's a comfort movie. It's just along with several of my other favorite movies. Any time of the year, any day, tell me that we're watching that movie. It will put me in a good mood.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird, especially the tone that they go with in that film.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
And what's all great about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 with 2 things. One, it's just Laurie Strode with Scout Taylor Compton's kind of like direction with Laurie Strode. I think it's great. I know this is controversial, but Give me Scout Taylor Compton's Laurie Strode over Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode all
That is
day, every day.
controversial. Yeah.
I don't care because I related more to Scout Taylor Compton's version of that Laurie Strode character than I did with Jamie Lee Curtis, like the whole good girl thing. It's just like you just went through all that and you're still like okay in the head and all that. Or in Jamie Lee Curtis, it's she just has to replace put a wig on her head. All that with Halloween 2 from 81.
Right.
But yeah, just I love Scout Taylor Compton. First, I met her. She's one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet on
I heard
that.
she's very nice.
Oh, she's amazing. I highly suggest meeting her. And then who also gets underlooked in that movie is Danielle Harris's character of Annie.
Give me
She
her
gets
Annie easily over the
Absolutely.
original Annie. It's not even
Absolutely.
close.
Not even close. But what she has to deal with in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 to deal with, like, hey, Laurie's not the only person that got affected in Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. Annie got a brutal ass kicking in that first one too. And then of course we get the famous bathroom scene, which that's why I like Austin with the director's cut. The only thing I like about the director's cut is showing Brackett's reaction.
Yes.
To see Brad Dourif act his ass off. That was the one thing I'm like, okay, this guy can act when he really is getting put in a good situation. That was it. So love that. But the big compliment I say about Raw Zombies Halloween 2 is the most beautifully shot movie from a cinematography standpoint. I think it's absolutely breathtaking. Yeah. Where the hell's my 4K? I will buy that immediately on 4K.
It's coming.
I heard it was coming, and as soon as it does, I'm buying it because it's with the fog and so beautiful.
It's
especially where he lifts the car. That's to me the most beautiful cinematography shot in the Halloween franchise.
There's so many of those shots in that movie. It's incredible, and when you see too, like I got a lot of perspective from actually going to the filming locations. Because you see how much he like dressed these up. Like I remember there's this one scene where they're like on their way to that like big party at the the big Halloween party that they go to.
Yeah, who doesn't want to go to a party like that?
Well, so I went to that area where they're like walking down the street and then that area where that party was set up. And dude, it was like the most boring part of that whole trip. And I was like, it was so cool looking in that movie. It just shows you how and that's something that I think even Rob Zombie haters can admit that he does well. I mean, people hate 31, but the thing that I hear most about it is that it's a beautiful looking movie. It's shot well. It's got great lighting. He's a big lighting guy. He does lighting.
Oh yeah,
very well. Yeah, it's a great example of a movie that just looks awesome. And I hope more people come around to it. I really do. I get why people hate it. It's a really big departure. But if you can just keep those movies contained and you can forget about John Carpenter's for just a couple minutes, it'll do you some big favors.
Yeah, and my buddy Brad, he will always mention this too. It's just he's one of those ones he loves different, especially when you get into so many dive into a franchise where he pretty much just rinse and repeat it. When you do something different, it'll intrigue him more, and that's what Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 does because it was the first movie in that franchise where it could go in any direction that it wanted to go and not be tied into anything, and that's why to me it stands out even more. Just because it got that range to go so different, and I appreciate it, especially with it being the 10th movie. Wait a minute, is it the 10th one?
Let's think.
Yeah, I think it was the 10th one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the 10th one because 2018 was 11, then 12, 13. Yeah. So definitely the 10th movie within that franchise to do something different, and plus, that's the thing with Rob Zombies too is if he just had a writer, he would be a lot more respected because he ain't the best writer in the world, but in terms of director, I think he's really damn talented. I think he has the mindset for it. And from what I heard from all the people that I've worked with him from a casting perspective, love the guy.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, where it just does the Rob Zombie hate makes no sense to me. And then of course, lastly, I'll say about the Rob Zombie 2 haters, the unicorn scene. Guys, they tell you immediately at the beginning of the movie what that unicorn represented. like it's not dumb. It makes sense for the story they were telling.
Yeah, and in conversations that I have with people, I always just bring up the fact that it's in like less than 3 minutes of the movie. You know, it takes up like no time, but people talk about it like it's the thing that ruined Michael Myers. It's like it's barely in the movie. It's like saying that scene in Superman 3 where the crossing there's like a scene with like, you know, the crosswalk signs, what they start fighting each other. It's like that saying that ruined Superman 3. It's like no, it's one little snippet of a movie that there's so much left of that you have not just talked about. What else didn't you like about this movie other than the white horse stuff? Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm biased on the movie, but that just seems like a very weird argument.
I just
it doesn't
like
make
Sherry
sense.
Moon, dude. Like her
People
just
have Sherry problems.
like, sitting there like staring at him like this, not blinking. It's like it's so uncomfortable. Stop.
But it's supposed to be uncomfortable. That's the other thing too.
It just reminds me of Chris Durant's Michael Myers from H2O.
Well, yeah.
That's all he does the whole movie.
Good
Just,
comparison. Good comparison.
like when Laurie kicks him in the nuts.
I was really surprised when I saw that we didn't get a sound effect from him. Like he gets kicked in the nuts and he's just like,
Like if you listen carefully, he does go like just for a little bit.
oh,
but
ooh.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's not good because
Lovely.
you break the one rule that the original set out is the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, meaning you're not supposed to see his eyes. And here we are, multiple movies showing his freaking eyes on screen. And even though the only 2 movies I'm okay with showing the eyes, it's Rob Zombie's Halloween's 1 and 2. I'm okay with showing the eyes because that is a different Michael Myers in a different Halloween timeline that does not affect the other movies. It's its own thing. I'm okay with showing the eyes on that one because of the way they were telling the story in that movie. Because Loomis even said, these are the eyes behind of a psychopath. Not he didn't say blackest eyes, he didn't say devil's eyes, but behind of a psychopath. So that brings a whole totally different concept of why it's okay to show his eyes. But like the other ones, absolutely not. You're not supposed to show his eyes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing I've really come to like about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is because that was my biggest thing is because like I obviously as a diehard fan of the series, you know, it's hard to like not compare it to the others, but like I said, just sitting down and just watching the movie this last time, like I just went into it like that. I'm like, you know what? This has nothing to do with the John Carpenter movie or any of the other movies I'm going to see. You know, I'm just going to sit here and just watch it how it is. Like, whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it just, every scene, well, most of the scenes clicked with me pretty well. I was like, oh, wow, I'm okay. I'm seeing why a lot of people like this. Like Cody Leach, he's a huge defender of this film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked with him a couple of years ago, and he said the same thing. He's like, just sit down, just watch it. Try to not compare it to the originals or any of them other films. Just watch it on its own. Watch the theatrical cut. I'm like, okay, I've heard that one quite a bit, so I will definitely do that. And yeah, now, like I said, now it's in my top 5 favorite Halloween films, and I never thought it would be in the top 5. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, nope, last place. It'll stay in last place forever.
And
Yeah.
Drug Dumps is the same way too. It's like he's a defender of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as well.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the way that you described watching that, I think it, weirdly enough, in the Halloween franchise, it would benefit you to watch a lot of the movies that way. You know, you know, thinking about like the Thorn trilogy, like a lot of people hate like the direction that took, but if you take it just within the context of those 3 movies, well, if you take it within the context of 4
Not
and 5,
as bad.
and then in 6, 6 I think is one that it's that example for me, and I have admittedly I have a hard time separating that because when I was a kid, the first horror movie I ever saw was Halloween 5. And so I related to the character of Jamie Lloyd as a kid. I was 9 years old when I watched that movie. So that's a character that means a lot to me. So when you take that character and you do something like Halloween 6 did with it, it's hard for me to come around to that. But every time I watch it, I try to do the same thing. I try to just think like, that's not Jamie Lloyd. I'm just watching a standalone movie. This is the first of its kind. And that's how I watch Resurrection. That's how I watch H20. That's how I watch all of them. And honestly, I have to thank Victoria from Flopbuster for being the one to really turn me around on H20, because she brought it to us when we welcomed her to our show. And she just, there was something about that viewing where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch this with an open mind. I'm going to pretend that this is an opening to the franchise in a weird way. It's supposed to be the ending, but I was like, this is the opening. This is on its own thing. And I liked it a lot more. I think that's going to be my key to enjoying the new trilogy of movies a lot more than I do now, is just letting them live on their own, letting them simmer on their own. And sometimes it's important to watch movies like that to really like who wants to hate a movie? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to ever waste 2 hours of my life.
That's how I feel about Ends. Like, I haven't watched it since I saw it in the theater on opening night.
Oh, you went to the theater. I'm so sorry. I watched it on Peacock. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I went opening night. I was first in line. We got the best seats.
Oh, no.
Okay. So when I left the theater, I gave it a 3.5, and I sat on it for like a couple days. I'm like, it's not a 3.5. No way. I'm like, is it really better than Kills? At that point, I was like, oh yeah, I was way better than Kills, because like, I hate the dialogue in Kills so much. But I just sitting on it, I'm like, no, I think it's like number 9 on my list. But reading your comment and kind of, I've thought about it a lot lately. Anyway, like I want to go and give it another try. I want to see if, kind of like you just said, maybe if you just watch it as its own standalone thing, don't look at it to be the third part of this trilogy. Like, maybe I'll have a different perspective. I've been saying it for the last however many months since the film's been out. If this would have been like the 4th film in like a quadrilogy, this would easily be 4 stars for me. Like, hands down, I'd give this a 4 stars, because I like Corey Cunningham. I like what they do with the character. I don't like how they represented Michael, because Michael, again, he's one of my favorite movie characters of all time.
It's hard not to take your favorite characters so seriously,
Exactly.
It's a tough thing.
Man, that'd be like if they did that with Darth Vader. Like if they made a new Star Wars movie and they did that with Darth Vader. Like, oh no, you go do it. I don't want to. Like, Vader?
Yeah.
And everybody? Like, come on.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's my biggest grip with Halloween Ends. Plus, my buddy Brad loves the movie. I don't like the movie as much as he does. So we always have a differential opinion on it. But here's where it gets it for me. Love the Corey Cunningham story. If they would have done the original John Carpenter idea and do a Halloween anthology for the Halloween franchise to be that anthology like franchise, the Corey Cunningham would be the better story than the Michael Myers story. I know that's controversial on its own too, but I think that's how great a story Corey Cunningham character was, and I respect that. But to do this idea with a movie called Halloween Ends, to end the long legacy of Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers that took 44 years of history together, and this is their last movie together, and you want to make Corey Cunningham the star and to overshadow all of that, that's such a big occasion. I do not respect that at all, and that's my biggest grip with Halloween Ends. It's because how much they disrespect just a big moment in the franchise is to end that long 44-year story of Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. Like, they only had 10 minutes to fight, and that was it. Like, what are we doing?
I think it was even less than that. I think it was literally like a 3 to 5.
Regardless, it's a crime.
Yeah. I honestly, and this is full disclosure. I'm very biased on this. Halloween Ends is at the bottom of my Halloween rankings. Dead last. I mean, dead last. It is the lowest rating I have ever given to a Halloween film, ever. And it hurt to do. It hurt to not like the movie because I remember coming out of the theater off Halloween 2018 and just being in this like weird state of like, I wasn't like jumping up and down like, whoa, did you see that? Or like anything like that. I was just kind of like, I just watched a Halloween movie in the theaters. And it was and I think I liked it. I think I liked it. It's moved down the ranking, but I still like it. It Kills, I was like, oh man, like they really got to bring it the heat with this third one. And I think the thing that got me about it, there was two things. First off, it was the response from the filmmakers. You know, when they went on social media and were like, "Hey, we know you really didn't like Halloween Kills, but man, are you guys gonna love Ends? We go all out with this, and we're gonna go crazy with it." And like, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" I was like, finally we're going to explore Allison more, and finally we're going to do all these things more, and Michael Myers is going to get one last shot at this. Like this is cool. And I don't want every Halloween movie to be the same. I don't want that to be what I'm saying here. You can do something different. But I was really hoping, first viewing, I really didn't like the way that they took it. I was not a Corey guy. I was not a fan of what they did with it. But I could see myself getting over that more than my biggest issue, which is that how they treated the character of Allison, right? Like she's set up to be this really important piece in Halloween 2018, and in Kills, it didn't feel like anybody was really important. So I was just like, well, you know, that is there. I think I could come around to that movie if I rewatched it, but I was like this. I was like, this is the chance that they have to make Allison like the character to like, if they're going to let this live on in some kind of way, whether they are or aren't, this is the person to do it with. She's a likable character. She's got no awful qualities. This is great. And then I've never seen a character disregarded in my life more than they disregarded her in Halloween Ends. And it's like, why even set her up as an important character in your trilogy if this was the plan all along? Because isn't that what David Gordon Green said afterwards, that this was the plan all along?
Yeah, I call bull on that, because
why was Corey not in Halloween
on the same night?
Everything, all three films were supposed to take place on the same night. I think that would have benefited a lot more.
Better.
I feel like it would have been a lot more of an epic conclusion, because I mean, it would still be like the 40th anniversary of his original killings. And I mean, it would still, still take place after Kills. I mean, unpopular.
And it would mean a lot more for the 44 years of Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, exactly, dude.
See, and like, I'll say it, James Jude Courtney is my favorite Michael Myers. I might have mixed feelings on what they did in Halloween Kills.
Oh, he's a great he's a great choice to play that character. He embodies it more than anybody has since Castle. I actually like him more than I would agree. I think he's tied for my favorite because I think Tyler Mane's a very different version of Michael Myers. So I'd put them side by side. But yeah, that's a good pick.
Because like I had such mixed feelings on Kills when I left the theater, but like, and it's weird because like I only give it a 3, and I don't know, I can't give it any higher, but like Kills has so much, if not honestly my favorite Michael Myers stuff of the entire series. Like I keep saying, like I'm torn between 3 different scores. I've been leaning heavily towards the Halloween Kills score as my favorite score of the entire series.
They're all great. Even Ends. I mean, fantastic.
And some of my favorite Michael Myers kills, Michael Myers moments, like that was the film. Kills solidified James Jude Courtney as my favorite Michael Myers.
Well, you know what they should have done? They should have made Halloween Ends the second movie and Halloween Kills the third movie, the finale. Because then you're just going all out with Michael in the finale. What they should have done, and do all the Corey Cunningham stuff in the middle where it would make more sense to do it, because there's a time jump and all that. But I definitely agree with Connor. Connor being just awesome right now with the owls, and 110% agree with all that. The most wasted character, not only in Halloween history, but in the horror genre history as well, because they had so much potential to set up with her to carry on the torch of the Halloween franchise. We all liked her. We all support Andy Matichak. I think she's great. And then they bring in Corey Cunningham, which they had someone for her to feud with in the future of the Halloween franchise. And now
She's
what
just
do we
a
do?
simp.
Yeah, what do we do now? We just degrade her character. Now we treat her dumb in Halloween Ends with how dumb she is. Oh, she's liking the killer, the new killer. Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, Allison, you're smarter than that. You're a valedictorian for crying out loud. Like, and then just, yeah, we just reduced her to nothing. I've never seen anything like that. 2018, phenomenal job introducing her kills. Okay, maybe she could redeem herself, but Ends, total disrespect to her character.
I would agree. I would 100% agree.
Can I ask what you guys rated Halloween Ends?
3 out of 5 for me, but mainly the 3 comes more of the side of the Corey Cunningham stuff than anything.
Literally the same for me. I gave it a 3 as well.
Cool. Okay. I'm curious on what people give it, because the reaction seems to be very strong, but I tend to find that more people are like you guys. They give it somewhere in the middle of the road. So thank you for that.
And Kale's I come more to liking about too. So Kale's now for me used to be a 3 out of 5, but now it's a 3.75 out of 5 for me. Just because I kind of open my eyes more for taking, kind of like you said, just take the movie for as it is. And all that movie is Michael Myers killing. And the killing is great. So there it is.
Yeah, like with Ends, I'll still say it's a solid horror film, at least for me personally. But yeah, as it's hard to rate it as a Halloween fan, because like I want to give it like a 2.5, but I'm like, no, I like this and I like that, and it's just my biggest complaint is just how they handled Michael. Like, it just I don't get offended by movies, but like that, I would say actually kind of offended me to a degree, because again, Michael Myers is one of my favorite characters of all time, and just seeing him. It's weird because I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm almost comparing Halloween Ends to The Last Jedi to some degrees.
I mean,
yeah, in a way, I can see that in a
when
way.
you take a beloved character and you change everything about what their fundamentals are, I mean, people are going to take it some way. And some people really liked how they did it with Luke in The Last Jedi. But, you know, a lot of people don't. So it's like, when you
same concept, but like obviously
you're right.
sides of the coin. Like, you got the big hero for the light side on with Luke, and then you got the complete opposite with Michael Myers, obviously. So
I think that's a good comparison, because it's the same thing. You're changing what people like and know of this character, and we know Michael doesn't work together with anybody, but now he does. We know Michael's a very strong character who seems to have this superhuman will. Now he doesn't. It's just very interesting. I think that's a good comparison.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, oh God, am I really going to say this?
No, you're right, though. Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So, well, I couldn't really ever like think of like a topic that I wanted to really talk about, because we've discussed a lot of stuff on this podcast.
Just when I've come on alone, there's been so much.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, what was Carter's question again?
Oh my God, I think I started in like pre-MCU comic books, and we ended up on like a 45-minute Halloween conversation.
As my buddy says, it always refers back to Halloween somehow.
Yeah, it's center of the universe. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Like you said, I can't really think of like a topic. Like I said, we've just both talked about so much, like comic book. Man, I even talked about wrestling. You know how long it's been since I've talked about wrestling with like anybody? It's been a long time.
Yeah. It was a fun one. I liked everything we touched on a lot of stuff. You're right.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we haven't touched on, at least since I've been in here, is just how awesome it is seeing you hit 200, man. I'm excited to see what comes next from the channel for you. And obviously I'll have my eyes on it. You know, I'm available if you need me for anything, but it's cool to see. I like seeing people enjoy what they do. And anytime that you can hit something that makes it feel worth it, because it's hard. I get it, man. I don't sometimes that, you know, I'm so grateful to have Not That Bad as an outlet for me, because I really do need it. But there are times where I'm like, man, I really don't want to watch this movie right now. I think Waterworld was the one for me that I was like, oh my God, please don't make me do this. But when you have something and you hit some kind of milestone, or you have something about your channel that you get really, really excited about, it's like the coolest thing in the world for me to observe. So really excited to see what happens next. And seriously, congratulations on hitting 200. It's a very important milestone. I'm excited to see where you go next.
Yeah, I mean, I've got plans of like what I want to do. Obviously, like I've said before, my next goal is 500, which I'll get there. It'll be a while, but you know, I'm just gonna. You and I, we talked about this off camera once, Connor. Like this is just like a nice little escape. You know, being able to talk to people about similar topics. Obviously, you know, topics too that differences in opinions and stuff, which again, I like that stuff, because I mean, Brett worded it best. If we all had the same opinion or like the same ranking and stuff, what's the point in even talking about anything? Like,
yep.
And I have so many interests. Like, I love video game. Obviously, I love movies, but like, I love horror. I love comic book movies. I love Star Wars. Like, I have such a wide range of things that I love and I'm passionate for and stuff. Like, but like this channel's just been one of the big things. Again, it's a nice escape from the world, you know, because we all have hardships. You know, life's not perfect for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why me and Brad create Good Rule Hunting. Is we create that safe space for people just to escape the bad stuff from their real world, and just take an hour or 2 hours of their time just to talk about horror movies without like any kind of controversy or anything, or real life problems, just to escape. And we wanted to create that safe space for everybody. And yeah, man, so totally understand that. Like what you're trying to create as well. Like me and Brad could easily relate to that.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I like making content. Like, again, just sitting here 3.5 hours, I sat here and talked with you guys. Like, if just the conversation's good, I can respect your guys' opinions. I mean, I don't care how long I talk. I mean, I could sit here and talk for I could sit here and talk for another 3 more hours if we had enough. You know, if I had some more caffeine, stuff like that would be fun. But like, yeah, man, like I said, like, yeah, 200 for some people, it might not be a big number, but for me, like, it's makes me feel good. I mean, again, with this whole rebrand stuff, like, people are taking it good. Like, people are coming by and wanting to watch stuff, even getting a couple suggestions here and there and stuff is awesome. Like, it's last month is like the most active and most like anything I've gotten on my channel. Watch, subscribers, all that stuff. Like, it's so there's some days I can't even like believe how like just me sitting in my mom's basement just talking about Star Wars movies or playing Battlefront downstairs, and now I'm here doing a podcast talking with honestly some good friends. I'll willingly say it. You know, I consider you guys pretty good friends. I mean,
thank you.
Talked with Andy, you know, a lot about the Mandalorian and stuff. I mean, obviously, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't be meeting all these great people that I've had conversations with and stuff. And, I mean, Brandon, I met him through Andy, and we've been talking Mandalorian for a few weeks, and it's just, I like this realm of my life. Like, not that like my life is like terrible, like it's fine. You know, it's just, you know, being an adult sucks. I mean, I think all 3 of us agree with that statement.
Yep.
But
no, man. But no, I'm the same way, man. Because I got a late start with the horror genre. I didn't watch my first horror movie technically until 2016.
Oh wow.
And because Brad's tried to get me a start on it, I never want anything to do with it. He tried, and I'm like, no. And he goes, okay, just give me one more movie, because he tried to get me to do Paranormal Activity, and I just wanted nothing to do with it. But he said, let me just do one more movie, The Conjuring, and you have to open your mind to it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Scared the hell out of me, but I absolutely loved the movie. And literally, that movie, and I know this is corny as all get out, but The Conjuring did change my life, because it made me want to start a YouTube channel with my buddy Brad when the pandemic happened. And then just using my story with The Conjuring to meet all of the people that I've met today so far through the world of YouTubing. A lot of my best friends now are on the side of the world of YouTubing. So literally that movie changed my life. So kind of like just what you were saying, Austin, like YouTubing has just got us a new platform to introduce us to new people that are just like us. So it's just such an honor to do that. Like this whole YouTubing thing is such an honor to do. It's not easy.
Yeah, and I mean, even being a part of like the internet, like film community, whether it's horror or whatever else, like I'm not going to say the name of the group now, but I just remember, like some of my best friends, genuine best friends, I met online because of movies. And like everybody has that movie that really changed things for them. It's a couple layers to get to horror for me, but when I first started YouTube, I had like some serious health stuff going on. You watch videos. I have a channel out there somewhere called President CM. It's out there on YouTube still.
Yes.
I have videos there. I look like, think of me right now if you just like vacuum sealed my face. I was gaunt. I looked like I was dying. I talked like I was dying. And I was just same as you, Austin. There, I was still living with my parents. I was working at retail. I was working retail. Had some health stuff going on. I barely ever got a chance to make videos on that thing, but I never forgot that sense of escape. And so, I met Gabe through this same horror group. He just happened to welcome me on his channel to talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. And here we are. God, we did that in 2000 and God, that had to have been 2018, maybe 2017. And here we are all these years later making a show. We record, we release episodes every 2 weeks. We got a Patreon. We have a friggin' website. Why do we have a website? I don't know. But it's just, it's so important to have something in your life that you can just escape through. And the fact that we all have that sort of thing together and watching people hit good points in time of that thing, it's not just an escape anymore. Now it's something it's gratifying. It's more than just, oh, I get to escape from all my problems for a little bit and talk about stuff that I like. It's like, oh no, like other people kind of like what I have to say about this stuff. And I'm meeting all these cool people, and not only am I meeting them, but they like what I do. And I like what they do. And it's just, I mean, there's no better feeling. There are certainly things in that can knock you down. I think we can all relate to that at the moment. But I think we're all in a good spot, and it's really cool to see the channel over here growing. I'm just glad I could be any small part of that, whether it's being here. Thank you for welcoming me to a cool celebration of your stuff. And, being the first guest on your Tales of a Star Wars fan series is an honor. So yeah, keep on growing, keep on pushing for it. Cause it's exciting. I see exciting stuff on the horizon for you.
Mm-hmm. And definitely celebrate the little stuff. Because, because it makes the big stuff more gratifying too. And plus it also keeps you self-motivated too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Brandon right here, keep doing your thing. Him and Andy really want me to go to Texas. So
I'm going to Texas in August. So,
I think that might be when I might go, because we're planning on, if it works out, I'm planning on being there on the week the first episode of Ahsoka drops.
Oh,
okay.
So we might do a live reaction if I can get there. We'll see. We'll see about time. And money, again, adult stuff, all sorts of fun. So.
Oh, of course.
But no, man, like I appreciate the hell out of you guys coming here and dealing with me for almost 4 hours. It's awesome.
Dealing is a strong word, Austin.
Yeah, it's
We're
not
having-
dealing.
we're
We are
having a
happy
good
to
time,
be on
brother.
here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, always welcome people on. Like I said, as long as you guys got good stuff to talk about and don't bring toxicity and stuff over, I'm pretty easy to get along with. I mean, I just like this, man. It's just, like I said, if I could, like, I would love for this to be like my career, because again, I love creating. I've always thinking creatively about things, even when I'm at work. Like, I'm like, oh man, I could do this,
Yep.
that, and I'm like,
You
know
and
the
me
feeling.
both. That's
Yep.
what I do in my office. When I get a little break, I'm like, or I literally do my job. If an idea, I goes, okay, job, you can be on pause for a minute. I gotta write this down or I'll forget.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. So you're
I have
all. That's
so
the thing
many
with the
phone
condition.
notes.
You're always thinking, and you
Yeah.
got to start always thinking. You got to be creative, and that's the hardest thing to do, because that's a lot of channels are the same thing as you. They're always thinking. They're always creating. So you just got to find the most important thing is you got to find yourself a way to stand out from the pack. And that's the hardest thing to do. But man, once you do it, it's so gratifying.
And I think you have, Austin. I like, your brand, whether it was anything, whether it was the previous brand or the one that you use now, the things that you talk about are things that people care about. I mean, people really care about Star Wars. People really care about horror movies. People really care about comic book movies. Like, these are things people really care about. And so, I'm just excited to see how that continues to grow and all the people you keep bringing on. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. And like Brett said here, you just have to, no accomplishment is too small. It's what you make it. So if you make it too small, sure, it will be. I remember the day I hit 50 subscribers on my first YouTube channel. I was like, this is the big 50 people want to watch me.
Me and Brad were like that, because we even say if we even have 50 people subscribe to us, we're the happiest people in the world. And then we really quickly hit 100, and we were like, dude, this is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And then that was 2 years ago. Now here we are at 1,000, and we're just still having like really reflect on that, how much that means versus like 2 years ago, because we didn't even think 1,000 would be possible. And here we are dealing with it now. So I'm just telling you, Austin, keep busting your butt. It's going to happen to you. Just one of my favorite sayings, or two favorite sayings, is Rome was not built in a day. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, if you build it, they will come.
And I think you built it pretty well right now. I think they're coming.
Absolutely. And dude, you could go nowhere but up from here on out. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
unless if you say Halloween Restoration is the best Halloween movie of all time, then your channel will get canceled.
Well, okay. Well, I don't think we got to worry about that anytime soon.
Okay, no,
so.
I'm kidding. I kid.
Well, no, guys. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna constantly say, just appreciate what you guys have done. I know, Brett. I know you shared that post and had some more people come over. And Connor, obviously, everything you've done. All the brands and stuff you made, and even though I know you keep shrugging it off like it's nothing, still highly appreciate it. It's just awesome. People definitely really like it. So
I'm just glad to hear everybody likes it. You could have been the only person on earth that liked that, and that would have been enough. So I'm good. We're good, man. We're on solid ground. That's what friends do. I'm just I'm happy to provide that extra support that I can, and hopefully I can continue doing so. And of course, I'm always there when I can for live streams. Obviously, if you ever need me on, I try to clear that schedule. Sorry, I couldn't be here for the whole thing tonight, but it seemed like it was a lot of fun. I've had fun since I've been here. I think I've been here for like over 2 hours. So, yeah, it's been a blast. Yeah, like Brett said, he said it perfectly. Nothing but up from here. I'm excited.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us. I'm excited to see where the channel goes. I'm got a lot of plans, like I said, but don't want to spoil anything quite yet. We'll
keep them close to the chest.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to these days, man.
Yeah.
Keep them guessing.
There we go. Yeah, that's a good one. So, guys, I think that's gonna do it here for this episode, the celebration episode. I want to thank Brett from Good Real Hunting coming on, Connor from Not That Bad a Movie Podcast coming on, and
Thank
Brandon, if you're still in the chat, thank you for coming on as well, man. Appreciate you very much.
Nice to meet you, Brandon.
I will update the in the description down below, but I will post everybody's channels down there, so make sure you guys head on over and go check them out. Awesome content on both ends here. Oh, 3 ends, I guess we should say. But so, do you guys got anything you want to plug? Anything you guys got coming out? Brett, we will start off with you, good sir.
Oh gosh, big screen here.
Yes.
No, I'm messing. What we got coming up on Monday, we're going to be continue our Friday the 13th watch party series with part 7, The New Blood, and we're going to bring on Victoria from Flopbuster for that. So that would be Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to drop a ranking video based off our Patreon requests of it for top 5 horror movies set in the cabin in the woods genre. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm pretty much going to be out of town starting next Thursday. But Brad, I'm going to leave the channel with Brad, and he and a good buddy of ours, of Chris, who is like our third man on the channel. They're going to do a watch party of sorts on Thursday. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's coming up on Good Real Hunting for next week.
All right. And Connor, how about you, good sir?
Yes. So I represent Not That Bad a Movie Podcast with my co-host Gabe Tice. He's a filmmaker, very talented. Go check him out if you've never seen his film, The Curse of Professor Zardonicus, available to stream and purchase right now. However, we are having so much fun over at the show. We just released an episode about 9 days ago, Spider-Man 3. We release bi-weekly, so our next episode's coming up soon. We haven't announced it quite yet, so if you're at all interested in the concept of a show where we take movies that are under 3 on Letterboxd and we tell you why they're not that bad, at least we try, head on over to our website. We have a website, notthatbadpod.com. We have a full catalog of our episodes wherever they are available, links to all of our socials, links to all of our platforms. And we recommend you follow our socials to see teasers and hints on new episodes coming up, as well as Patreon specials on their way. So I can't tell you what's coming next, but we'll answer the important question of, does size matter? That is all I will say for now.
All right. And again, guys, I'll post Brandon's as well. I know he usually posts a bunch of shorts and stuff throughout the week, so make sure you guys head on over, go check him out as well. Yeah, after tonight, hopefully this upcoming week, I'm going to be releasing the 2nd episode of Tales of a Star Wars Fan. I will be interviewing Star Wars Sith from the Star Wars Sith channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. After that, I think I might take a little bit of a break. I've just been pumping out a lot of content. I just need a little bit of a refresh. But yeah, other than that, I'll be back. I'll be doing some stuff. Hopefully get these guys back soon at some point, and maybe we'll have to do a nice big long discussion about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh man, I gotta bring Brad on for that one because he's a defender of that as well.
We should do a whole talk about the Halloween franchise. I think we could just based off the conversations we've had now, I'd be worried about the length for sure, but I think that would be a fun, especially if we did our rankings. I think that could be a really, really interesting episode.
Oh, that would be a great October thing to do.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'd be down.
Same.
All right. Well, that might be a podcast for October, you guys. So I'm very excited for that. And Connor, I'll be waiting for your episode for Stopper My Mom Will Shoot episode as well. So I'll be staying tuned for that one.
Don't hold your breath, please.
Okay. Fair enough. But, all right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, for all the likes, all the subscribers. And again, I'll post everybody's stuff down in the description below. And with that being said, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next one.